back. Another Sunday night, another live stream. Come on in. Let me know where you guys are checking in from. Let me know where you're checking in from. Happy Easter to everybody. Happy Easter. Hope everybody had a good, safe, prosperous, healthy Easter. Hope everybody didn't eat too much. I know I just left my mama's crib about maybe about an hour ago now, so I could come back home and do this show. You talking about what do we have? We had string beans, dressing, cranberry sauce, potato salad, turkey. My mama she threw down, so I'm stuffed. I'm gonna have to work it off tomorrow. I'm kind of bloated. You know what I'm saying? But it's a blessing. Another year, another Easter. All right, with the fam. So I hope everybody had a good Easter as well. I appreciate y'all checking in. I didn't realize last week or Thursday that this Sunday was Easter. I don't know. I probably would have still did the show anyway. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm here. My Easter, I've done what I needed to do, so I'm here. So whoever rocks out with me tonight, y'all rock out with me, and then whoever doesn't, you can catch the replay. You know what I'm saying? But come on in, hit that like button. Let me know where you guys are checking in from. As always, I love doing the roll call. I know some of y'all, no, y'all don't get tired of the roll call either. Y'all always let me know when y'all checking in. Y'all have to represent where y'all from. There's nothing wrong with representing where you are from. You know what I'm saying? Because where you are from is what made you. You know what I'm saying? So represent where you're from. Let me know where you're checking in from. It's D Walk said he finna grab him a 1942. He said he ain't getting no water. He said he finna go ahead and crack open him a $150 bottle of 1942. I get it. I hear you. It's Easter. You know what I'm saying? With the business, BTW, what's going on? What is going on? Devontae Smalls in the building, Pensacola in the building, Atlanta in the building. Shout out to everybody that's watching and tuning in on Facebook. Let me see. James Salmon, what up? What's going on? MD Michigan is in the building. Happy Easter. Happy Easter to everybody. Houston, Texas, checking on in. All right, so look, tonight we're gonna talk about some boring business stuff. I'm gonna keep it 1,000 with you. I ain't never nobody to sugarcoat nothing. It's gonna be some boring business stuff tonight. We're gonna talk about scaling. And I'm not going to speak like in the aspect of like a box truck cargo van business. We're going to speak on business in general. These laws of business, all right, these can be applied to any business, all right. I've done a live stream about the 5 stages of growth. I did that last year. I did a live stream on the 6 stages of scale. I did that last year, so I'm not going to repeat those live streams, all right? Today, we're going to talk about the pros and the cons, and I'm going to give you some other formulas, if you will, on business strategies, business techniques, some things that I learned in school for business on how, that you can take and apply to your business and ultimately scale your business. So it doesn't necessarily, what I'm going to say doesn't necessarily directly pertain to box trucking and cargo van. All right. So, but they're just general business practices, pros and cons. All right. Advantages and disadvantages. As you can apply this on any business. Not everybody that's looking to get into this business, they may want to start another business somewhere else, you know what I'm saying, in another industry. And you can utilize these same tactics, some of the pros, and then some of the cons, which are the disadvantages, are just things that you are going to look out for when you start your box truck business, or if you're in your box truck business or your cargo van business or whatever business. These are just things that can be some disadvantages that everybody must go through. And then I'm gonna input maybe some examples from my tenure. But the examples that I'm gonna give you from my experience are gonna be directly related to box trucks and cargo vans. All right. So come on in. Daniel Williams said Indiana is in the building. Shout out to everybody in Indiana. Brian Watkins, VA, is in the building. Let me get rid of that banner. Zup Chuck, New York in the building. Happy Easter, happy Easter, happy Easter. 3E3. North Carolina is in the building. Hey, 3E3, how's that T-Force account going? Did you start it yet? Let me know. If you don't want to put it in the chat, just shoot me an email. Let me know how it's going. Did you start it yet? Let me know how everything is going. Happy Easter, everyone. Hit the like button, folks, for more great content moments like tonight. Yo, hit that like button. Chantel Cash, great evening. How you doing, Miss Chantel? Atlanta is in the building. We got Philly in the building. Ibrahim. Shout out to everybody that's checking in from Philly. All right, so tonight we're going to be talking about the pros, cons, advantages, disadvantages of scaling a box truck, cargo, van business. All right, we're not going to waste no time. We're going to get straight into it. I did a good job Thursday night. I think the live was 2 hours and 4 minutes. I'm going to try to keep my lives at 2 hours, unless it's just really, really cracking and there's a lot of questions flowing and the room is, holding strong. I'm going to try to keep my Sundays and my Thursday lives to 2 hours if possible. I can't be doing 4 and 5 hours with y'all. I like to do it sometimes, but it cuts into my sleep. All right. I need to be in the bed by a certain time. All right. Monday night lives with Kurt, those can go 3-4 hours because it's two people, it's different opinions, it's more engagement, different topics, that we are speaking on. So it's a little bit more edgier. It's an edgier show. But my Sundays and Thursdays, I'm going to try to keep them to 2 hours. I'm going to say what I got to say, answer any questions pertaining to the topic, get some sauce, other sauces. Some people got some questions, in and out like a thief in the night. All right, so let's get to it. All right, shout out to everybody that's coming on in. Happy Easter to everybody. All right, so boom. The pros and cons of scaling a box truck cargo van business. Now, this you can add this to the live streams I did last year. I think I did those live streams in maybe November, October. I did the 5 stages of growth, 6 stages of scale, right? So this kind of falls into that too. So if you missed those, you can go back and look at those. Very informative live streams, very educational live streams. So first thing we're going to talk about is business growth. All right. It's a pro, obviously. It's an advantage. This is something that everybody wants to do, grow their business. I spoke on it a little bit the other night as far as, it seems like now, I go off themes and trends. Like a lot of people now have been coming to me saying, oh, I want to add another truck. And a lot of the times people may not be ready to necessarily grow their business, but we're going to talk about that a little later. But if you are in a position where you're at that point where you're ready to grow your business, that's a pro. Obviously, it's an advantage because obviously you'll make more money. You get to say cool things like, hey, look at all my trucks. That was my thing. My thing wasn't really necessarily the money, right? The money was great. It was coming in. It was in the bank account when I was scaling. But my cool thing, and I said it before, was just going to the yard every morning and just having trucks all over the place. That's where I got, that's what made me feel good. So that's another bonus of scale. You feel good about yourself because you can sit back and be like, damn, look what I did. You know what I'm saying? That's a great feeling to just be like, damn, look what I did. You know what I'm saying? So, you're able to not only making money, personal satisfaction, also being in a position where you can employ people, and give people opportunity. Now, who you decide to employ, that's up to you. I decided to employ people in the community where I grew up. I actually did a video 2 weeks ago. I went back to my old warehouse. I told this story before. Church acquired the place, sold the place. In 2018, the church bought it. They were going to build this big mega church, but the alderman in that ward decided that he wasn't going to approve them building a mega church. So it's just sitting there dormant, and they're not keeping up with the place. They kind of let the place go. So I went back. I kind of snuck in and shot some content, and I've been thinking about releasing it. And I've also been thinking about holding it. So I may release it, I may not release it. But hiring people is a good thing. That's something that I was able to come back to my community, hire people from within the community, and became a staple in the community. Put a business in the community. So that was really big for me. So that's another thing with business growth. You can take your growth to give back. Some people want to. I talk to people who want to grow their business so they can set their family up for generational wealth. Now that's a whole nother conversation. You know what I'm saying? Dealing with family and business. I got stories on stories for that. I'm pretty sure other people that are in business now, that have been in business, can tell you stories about dealing with family. That's a whole nother thing. But business growth, it's a good feeling. And like, I can talk about so many different advantages and pros to business growth. We would be here all night. I think you guys get the picture for business growth, because obviously that's what everybody wants to do. They want to enjoy the fruits of their labor. They want to be successful. They want to enjoy the finer things in life. They want their business to ultimately provide the finer things in life. All right, so that's business growth. Let's get into this. All right, so now let's look at this. I always love doing charts, flow charts and stuff like that. So I've talked about the 5 stages of growth, the 6 stages of scale before last year, about 6 months ago. Go back again. I encourage you to go back and look at those lives, so that way it puts this, what I'm talking about tonight, it makes you guys understand it a little bit better. All right. So economies of scale. This is something that I learned in economics class many moons ago. Many moons ago, guys. I went to college in 1998. I came out in 2003. So there's a lot of things that I learned in school. You just don't apply to business today. But this is one of those things that will apply forever and ever and ever and ever and ever. We're going to talk about the economies of scale, diversification, innovations, revenue, competitive advantage, brand equity. Now, I've talked about competitive advantage before on the 6 stages of scale, but brand equity I haven't talked about. Revenue I haven't really dived in. Innovation and diversification. So what we're going to talk about first, let's talk about diversification. All right. Diversifying. This is a pro in business. All right. Diversifying your business. If you're going to scale, and this is something I always talk about, when you start to scale, you need to think about diversification. What do you mean, Mark? What do you mean about diversification? This is what I mean about diversification. Let's say you got 5 trucks running final mile. Doesn't matter what type of final mile you're running. Curbside, you could be running big and bulky. I don't care. Whatever. You pick it. All right. For example purposes only. You got T-Force, you got Pilot, you got Cardinal, you got, I don't know, NAL, you got JB Hunt. The list goes on and on and on. You got Select, which is now AIT. The list goes on and on and on. Me, personally, I would advise you to not put all those trucks in one place. Don't put them all in one place. Don't put them all. If you're running IKEA for NAL, don't put all your trucks at NAL. Don't put all your trucks at Cardinal. Don't put all your trucks at JB Hunt. Don't put all your trucks at Werner Final Mile. Don't put all your trucks in one spot. All right. Don't put all your eggs in one basket, because here's what's going to happen. You may piss them off one day, and then they may close your account, and now you got 5 trucks sitting, because now you got to find a new home for them. And while you're finding that new home, and it may be easy to find a new home, you know what I'm saying? But the process of going through the onboarding process will take 2 to 4 weeks. So now you're at 2 to 4 weeks and not making no money, right? So you don't want to put all your eggs in one basket. You got 5 trucks. You may have 2 over here at NAL. You may got 1 at Cardinal, 1 at UST, and let's say 1 at T-Force. Now you got your trucks spread out. They're all doing final mile. They're all bringing in revenue. And if T-Force gets mad, that's just one truck that you got to transition somewhere else. You know what I'm saying? You're not lose. You still have revenue coming in from those other 4 trucks. You have and here's the thing: it may not be a situation where, because this has happened to me before. It may not be a situation where you're at odds with the logistics company. It may be a situation where they lose the contract. They may lose the contract, and if they lose the contract, say you're running IKEA, and let's say they lose the contract, then you lose it by default as well. It's happened to me before. It happened to me with IKEA. All right, it happened to me. I followed IKEA to 3 different companies. All right, I followed it to 3 different companies. All right, so you don't want to have, let's say, 5 trucks running for let's say Cardinal, right? And you're running Mattress Firm for Cardinal, and you're making a lot of money. Each truck is pulling in about $700 gross a day, which is good money. It's about what, 35? All right, so boom, you pulling in that money, right? You pulling in that money. Let's say you pulling in $1,000 a day. You running a good route. You pulling in $1,000 a day. You running JB Hunt, $1,000 a day per truck. All right, that's $5,000 a day gross. You running a big account, a big Samsung account, a big appliance account, $1,000 each truck. One company, JB Hunt, you're grossing $5,000 a day, and boom, right? Let's say Samsung or Lowe's, whatever account you're running, right? Let's say, you know what, we don't like what you're doing. Your contract was up. Werner Final Mile underbid you by a little bit. We're able to pass those savings along to the consumer. We're gonna go with them in this region. We're gonna keep you guys in the Southeast. We'll keep you in the Midwest, but on the West Coast, we're gonna let Werner Final Mile handle this Lowe's contract or this Samsung contract. Now, all the ICs and all the MCs that are running, right, for let's say JB Hunt Final Mile that run that contract, now if they don't have other accounts to transition them into, and they may have some to transition some of them into, but they may not have enough work to transition everybody that was working on that account, then you lose that account by default. And now you got 5 trucks sitting while you go apply at NAL, Cardinal, this company, that company, and going through the process. And some of y'all know that's been applying with some of these companies. Y'all hitting me up like, man, I applied. They ain't hit me back. And I say, at least give them a week, you know? So just to make contact with the company can take a week. And then once you make contact with them, the process of starting the onboarding, that whole process, the background checks, uploading all your paperwork, rate negotiations, contract negotiation, takes time. It takes about 2 to 4 weeks, right? So now you got 5 trucks sitting. That's why it's important that you diversify. Don't put all your trucks in one spot. Very important. I don't care if you got 1 truck you start with, you grow to 2 trucks. Now you got 2 trucks in this one spot, right? And they got room for more trucks, and you're ready to grow to a 3rd truck. Now comes the decision, man, do I want to put a 3rd? Do I want all my trucks running in the same spot? Because if they lose this account, I'm doing good with them. They're happy with me. My guys show up. But if they lose this account, which happens, I'm screwed temporarily. You know, so you kind of want to diversify. All right. Let's talk about, I want to jump around. Let's talk about brand equity. Let's jump to brand equity because that's this easy. Brand equity ain't nothing but brand equity is, how do I explain this to you guys so that you guys, I don't want it to be too complicated. So brand equity is perception, basically. Perception. You perceiving something a certain way without acknowledging if the good is actually good or if the service is actually good. So, you know, companies that are good at brand equity are companies like McDonald's. You know, companies that are just have a big footprint and they're perceived a certain way. All right. So you can build your company, right? Let's say you're working in a not so high density area, not so low density area. You're working like, let's say, mid density area. You got 5 trucks. Your 5 trucks are running local routes, and let's say they're running local routes in town. It's 5 trucks, but they're kind of working all in the same like radius, like certain like 50-mile radius, right? 50 mile air mile radius. All right. So sometimes your trucks cross paths and things, and it's only 50 air mile radius, so it's not really, they're not really out there, right? You got 5 trucks, and let's say you go and you spend 5 grand, 4 or 5 grand to wrap each truck. You're wrapping the box fully, you're wrapping the cab fully. Let's say your truck is white, but you wrap the cab bright orange, you wrap the box orange all the way around, all sides, and let's say you got a moving company, and you wrap it in this bright orange, and you put you also not only you spend the money on the wrap, but you also spend the money for the photo shoot for how you're gonna whatever the marketing is you're gonna put on the van. Moving company, you want to put a nice family on the van, a few boxes, smiling. You kind of want to probably put the family that you can't tell if they're black, can't tell if they're white, the mixed family, the father and the mother. They got these just perfect white smile. And you got these nice, neat boxes that are labeled living room, bedroom. All right. So you got the right family, right? And you got this bright orange truck. And all your trucks are in a 50-mile radius working every day. Eventually, you're going to have brand equity because people are going to start seeing these trucks. They're going to stand out. You keep them clean. They're just beautiful trucks with beautiful marketing. And you got the right slogan, and just everything is just perfect. And the perception of that company is top tier without a person even spending a dime there. They don't know if you guys provide quality service or not. So that's brand equity. It's just perception. I was good at brand equity with my moving company. I'll tell you guys a quick story. My moving company, you would never know it was owned by a black man. All right, you would never know my moving company is owned by a black man. All right, because I don't market it that way. I do it like that for a reason. All right, I'll tell you the reason why I do it. All right, so hiring felons and things of that nature to do this type of work is just something that just comes with the game. All right, you're not gonna find anybody to do moving. So since my inception with the moving company, I always hired felons. All right, people that may have had an unsavory, let's say, background. This is not something that you're gonna market to the consumer, even though this is a policy or a program that you're implementing within your company to give people second chances. If you market that on your website, just publicize it, 99% of the people aren't going to book you. I know I live in the most segregated city in the country, right? A lot of people are going to perceive, and here's the thing, and this is just me talking and just being honest. People, will put you in a classification, for the wrong reasons, and I know that. I have to be honest with myself. All right, so I never marketed my company as a black-owned company. All right, the marketing that you see is not black, this, that, and the third. I'm gonna tell y'all a story. Don't get mad at me. You'll understand when you get in the position one day. But I'm gonna tell you a story. One day I had a moving crew out doing a move. It was for a repeat customer, and he was talking to one of the crew. He was talking to one of the guys on the crew that were doing his move. And was I don't know how it came on the topic, but it came up that the company was black owned and operated. And he was like, the company is black owned? He was like, yeah. He was like, man, I've moved with you guys 2-3 times. I never knew. I thought this was not a black owned company. Why? I was like, no, it's a black guy owned it. Matter of fact, it's a young black guy that owned it. I think at the time I might have been 34, 35, you know what I'm saying? And the crew member called the office. And I don't know who answered. Genesis, my brother. Somebody answered. Stacy. I don't know. Somebody in the office answered. Call got to me, and hey, Mark, I'm with the customer. So I already jumped to conclusions. Like, man, what y'all broke something? No, it ain't nothing bad. Man, ain't nothing bad, Mark. The customer want to talk to you. I'm like, well, what do you want to talk about? Normally, if a customer want to talk to me, it's something bad. What is why y'all on the move? If a customer wants to talk to me while the move is still going on, it's usually something not good. No, it just want to talk to you. I'm like, all right, put him on. He puts him on. He said, Mark, I'm like, yeah, it's Mark. He said, man, I'm a customer. You guys have moved me 2 or 3 times. I just want to let you know that you get it. I said, huh? He said, you actually get it. I like, what do you mean? He's like, man, you moved us 2 3 times, and I never knew this was a black owned company. The way you market it, everything, I would have never guessed it's a black owned company. You actually get it. Your face isn't on the website. The marketing that you use, you have it professional because you understand that if you market it as a black owned company, you're not going to get as much business as you get. And I said, well, you know what? I appreciate you even acknowledging that, I've had to go to war with my own people, and sometimes because some of the marketing I use and they don't kind of understand it, but I gotta get the money in. If I market it a certain, and it's unfortunate that I had to do that, but it just is what it is. He said, man, you don't have to feel bad. It is what it is. You understand how the world works, and it is unfortunate, but you understand how the world works. All right, so that's a story. Kind of fits with brand equity. I market my company a certain type of way because I want to maximize my earning potential, and I know how people perceive certain groups of people coming into their home. You got to understand, moving is a very personal business. You going into people's homes, you are touching their prized possessions. I remember early on starting my moving company. I remember going to somebody's house and getting ready to take their mattress out, take the mattress off to wrap it, so we can take it to the trucks. I flipped the mattress over, and when I flipped the mattress up, with number $100 bills, $100 bills under the mattress, in between the mattress and the box spring. You know what I'm saying? Customer forgot that some people just got money stashed all over the place. And I collected the $100 bills and I brought them to the customer. He said, "Oh my, I forgot I had. I got money stashed all over the place. $300, man. Thanks for being honest." You know what I'm saying? But you have some people that when they look for movers, if you market it to them a certain type of way, if you look a certain type of way, they're going to just go on to the next movers. It's unfortunate, but that's just the way it is. Now, when the crew get there, it's too late. It's moving day. The day April 1st, your lease is up. You got to move. So let these guys that you would have stereotyped, if we would have marketed a certain type of way, we wouldn't be here to do this move. But since they're here, you got to deal with them now. Let me show you how great these guys are and how honest these guys are. And because of that, I was able to build up a big clientele. But that's a part of brand equity. You know what I'm saying? Building, I market really, really well, my businesses. And like I said, it's unfortunate, but it is what it is. All right. So that's a story that I wanted to drop on y'all. We definitely understand the assignment. Yeah, sometimes you just got to understand the assignment. Man, to me, it's to get to the bread. I don't got time to sit up here and, I want to get to the bread. I need everybody's money. A consumer, I don't want to be judged because I'm marketing myself a certain type of way because I know how people are going to perceive it. No, I'm going to trick you into thinking one thing. We're going to get there and we're going to show you, look, you would have stereotyped us, we wouldn't be here. But now since we're here, let me show you how great of a people we are. So that's brand equity. All right. Sorry for going off on the whole, whatever it is I went off on, but the story fit the situation at the time. So it is what it is. All right, let's talk about innovations. Innovations. As you scale, you're going to have to deal and invest into new innovations, new technology. For instance, cameras on the truck. The more trucks you get, you're going to have to get some cameras. You're going to have to get GPS tracking software. Listen, I'm going to tell you, people will play with you. The more trucks you got, they're going to think the less time you have to focus on one truck. The more trucks you have, the busier you're going to get. You're going to need cameras on your truck. You're going to need GPS tracking. You're going to have to resort to fuel cards. And like I said before, once you start scaling your business, you have a multitude of trucks, you're going to have to get fuel cards. You're going to have to pay those maintenance fees and all those fees that are associated with fuel cards because you're not going to be able to hand every single driver a credit card. This is what fuel cards are for. Fleet cards are for fleets. All right. So if you have one truck, to me, it doesn't make sense to sign up with a fleet card. All right. You get a fleet card service when you have a fleet of trucks, all right? Then those maintenance fees and all those fees that are associated with a fleet card, they make sense then when you got a fleet of trucks, because you just got to pay them, because like I said before, you're not going to hand a credit card, right, to a bunch of drivers. With the fleet cards, you can set parameters, right? You can set parameters. I explained this before. Truck one, I know this truck, it runs a local route. It doesn't go, its route is within 50 miles. So boom, one fill up a day, $100 max. Once that car pumps $100, it can't pump no more. Set this car only for fuel. You can set it for the type of fuel, whether it's unleaded or diesel. No purchases, no maintenance, just fuel. Max out at 100 a day. You know what? Truck two, this is the truck that I got running, let's say, for Select Express. This truck does a lot of long distance downstate deliveries. It goes out about 50, 60, 70, 80 miles, whatever, sometimes downstate. All right. So we're going to open this card up and we're going to monitor it. We're not going to put a limit on it. No in gas station purchases, no maintenance, but we're going to let it pump as much, and we're going to monitor this car a little bit closer than we monitor the other cars that we have smaller, one purchase, one pump a day limits with a dollar amount. All right. GPS tracking. How is this innovation a pro when it costs you more money? I'm going to tell you why it's an advantage, even though it's something that you got to pay for on a subscription. When you get a GPS tracking software, I've always dealt with Fleetmatics, which is now Verizon, because Verizon bought them, right? You're going to be able to monitor everything that the driver does, their driving behavior, right? If they're harsh braking, if they're idling. It also works in this. I've had situations where, you're doing final mile delivery, you get there, the customer isn't there, you wait the 15 minutes, you call, the guy's calling to the office. We call to, let's say, nonstop delivery. We wait the 15 minutes, blah, blah, Skippy. They call in. They wait the 15 minutes. Most times now it's 20, 25 minutes by this time with all the back and forth calling. We give them the go ahead and just go to the next stop. What happens 20 minutes later, you get the call from the customer. Hey, I missed the truck came, but they said they came, but they didn't come. I just got a text from Nonstop Delivery saying we missed our delivery. Nonstop's calling us. The driver went there. No, we need the driver to go back. Well, the customer is saying the driver wasn't there. Okay, here, guess what? What's your email? What's your name? My name is Diane. What's your email? Diane.s@nsd.com. Okay, Diane, give me 1 second. You're still on the phone. Just hold on. Download, click, boom, send an email. Open your email. You should have an email. All right, from Mark. You see it? All right, now open that. All right, that's truck number 4. All right, now look at 1 o'clock. All right, now what's the address for the delivery? Oh, 123 Main Street. Now, what's the address right there you see on that report? Now, you see that truck was started. The truck started at 7 a.m. this morning, and every minute on the minute, you see where this truck is at. You see if it idled somewhere, you see the address it stopped, you see how long it idled, you see the truck stopped at 123 Main Street at 1 o'clock, and it sat there for 28 minutes before it proceeded on. Please submit payment for that stop, because the driver was there, the customer was there, they rang the doorbell, and with that attachment, I also seen you pictures that the driver was there, along with this CSV file that shows that the truck was at that address and had been idling there for 28 minutes. Please pay us for that stop, please. Thank you very much. You have a nice day. Because, see, these companies will play games with you because they're going to always take the side of the customer. And these customers are going to play games too because they think the customer is always right. Now, let me tell you something. Here's something else. The customer is not always right. I don't go by the customer is always right. I don't go by I would tell a customer, no, you're not always right. All right, because they're not always right. You never did this before. You never lifted nothing up 3 flights of stairs before. You never carried nothing this heavy. You never did that before. Because if you did, we wouldn't be here doing this. All right, we wouldn't be here moving this furniture. We wouldn't be here delivering that. You could have ordered that. You could have rented a U-Haul truck. You could have did it yourself. So you can't tell me if this is going to fit there because it's not. You never did this before. The customer is not always right. All right. So innovations are things like the right tracking software, right? The right cameras. All right. So that, because here, that particular stop, without that innovation, without that technology, you would have lost that delivery. You wouldn't have got paid for that stop. It would have been a waste of time going there. All right. So if that stock paid $100, you still getting that $100 because now that's billed back to the customer. Because we're billing it back to NSD, and then they're going to turn around and bill it back to the customer. All right. So these are all pros because these are going to be things that are going to help you save money. Also, driver behavior. All right. You can cut down on fuel costs. You can cut down on maintenance, harsh braking. All right. All these reports kick back to you. If a driver is braking harsh, the report is going to say it. Look, we're having issues with this driver. This driver is constantly harsh braking. Boom, you bring that driver in. Boom, look, this is a report, man. You know, for the past week, you've been doing a lot of harsh braking. All right, this is why we have to get the brakes done on your truck so often. All right, so this is a warning. This is a verbal warning. All right, you gotta, stop slamming on the brakes. All right, you gotta stop slamming on the brakes. This is a warning. If it continues, we're gonna have to do some more coaching, which is gonna lead to some corrective action. All right, idling. Man, why are you stopping so many times of the day? You get 15 minutes and you get a 30-minute lunch. So you stopped 6 times, and 6 times you idled for 30 minutes. And these 6 times, 2 of them we're not gonna count because those are your 15-minute breaks. So 4 of the times you idled, and you weren't idling at or even near a stop that was on your route. What's going on? You're burning gas. You're wasting fuel. You're speeding here. You're harsh braking here. So these reports ultimately help you, correct driver behavior, which ultimately helps you save money. All right. So these technologies, they're a pro. You need the purpose of me telling you this is because as you scale in business, you're going to need to input this technology on these trucks. You're going to need to know where your trucks are at all times. I had a situation. I went to Vegas one time with my girl, and they knew I was in Vegas, and one of these numbnuts took a truck home. Like, bro, I got tracking on my trucks. I can see it from a computer or from the phone, right? So why would you take one of my trucks to the crib? You see what I'm saying? This dude live in Gary, Indiana. So instead of having your girl drive to Chicago like she do every day to pick this dude up, he thought, oh, well, I'm gonna save my girl. I'm gonna burn Mark gas, so I'm gonna drive like I'm some type of mog or something. Like I'm just having too much of a good time in Vegas. Like I'm not checking my business. No, I'm checking my business. My girl's snapping. I'm in Jamaica one time. She's snapping because I'm running my business. I'm looking. I need to know what's going on because guess what? The reason we're in Jamaica right now is because of this business. The reason why we're in this country or we're here is because of this business. No, I'm going to check in on the business. All right. Yeah. So you have to do corrective action. So guess what? When I got back to the crib and that dude drove my truck all the way to the crib, I didn't say nothing. But when he got his check, guess what? His check took a hit. Because guess what? I paid myself back for the gas he stole. This is why you need all this stuff. It's very important. The more trucks you get, the more just people think they can play with you because they think you got too much going on. And they think, well, if I sneak and do this, then, man, I had people try to steal gas, the gas card. I had a gas theft ring, all types of things. But the thing, when you have these innovations, this technology, and you can utilize it, you can always go back. So even if you get caught slipping, you can always go back and look at these things and see what's going on. Whenever you see little patterns, you can utilize that. And it's important that when you scale your business, you invest into these things because ultimately they're going to save you money in the long run. Young World, 51 people in the chat, hit the like button. How many likes we got? 30 likes? Okay, yeah. If y'all in the chat, man, do me a favor, hit the like button so it can, get out into the YouTube, atmosphere so other people can chime in on this information. And I would greatly appreciate it if you did that. I would greatly appreciate it. So it takes care of diversification. It takes care of innovation. We talked about brand equity. Revenue is just like business growth, bread. We're talking about money. You're going to get more revenue when you scale. More revenue, more money. But with more money comes more problems, and we're going to talk about a little of that on the disadvantage side. So I don't think revenue is something I really got to dive into or give examples or give personal experiences of business that I've had in the past. Competitive advantage. This could be a pro and a con. But we're going to talk about it from a pro aspect. Competitive advantage. As you scale, you have more competitive advantage than people who don't have as many trucks as you. All right, and it just is what it is. I've had a lot of competitive advantage in the past, being a master contractor um, in certain logistics companies because I just had a lot more trucks. You know what I'm saying? Just that's just as simple as that. You know, the branch managers and the operations managers, they treat you different. They're gonna treat trucking company A that has 5 trucks running under, at this company, at this warehouse. They're gonna treat you different than they treat trucking company B with 1 truck. They're gonna speak to you in the morning. They're gonna laugh at your whack jokes. They're gonna kiss your ass a little bit more than they do. I see with 1 truck. It's just the way it is. You know what I'm saying? Because you can cause more damage, right? You can cause more damage if you walk, right? And they need you. They need you. And most of the times when you have a fleet of trucks, let's say like 5 trucks at one place, if 2 other guys, let's say 2 other ICs don't show up, the branch manager, operation manager, they go to the MCs, the master contractor, the guy with 5 trucks. Look, you got 5 trucks. Can we take these 2 guys didn't show up? I'm gonna take one route and I'm gonna try to take the other route to another MC, but this route got 10 stops, right? Can we put 2 extra stops on each one of your trucks? Man, we owe you. Please, can you help us out? No, MC gonna say, yeah, I'll do it. Don't worry about it. Because normally the master contractor isn't always in a position where they can bail out the logistics company because they just have the manpower and they have the trucks. I've been there, you know what I'm saying? I bailed out so many companies before because I just had the manpower and the trucks. MCs are a little bit more dependable than ICs. To a branch manager, an ops manager, it shows you, look, not only is this person successful, they run a multitude of trucks. They got a bunch of people working that are showing up every day. This person is a little bit more, their business acumen is a little bit higher. Their business savvy is a little bit higher. So they treat you a little bit better. And like I said, you bail them out, you know what I'm saying? So you have that competitive advantage over the guy with 1 truck. You know what I'm saying? Obviously, the disadvantage is if you got 5 trucks and old Marky Mark come to town in there, let's say I pull 10 trucks in there, then now I got the competitive advantage over you. So it's like, you may have the competitive advantage over this smaller guy, but then there may be a guy in there with the competitive advantage over you too. So it can be a pro and it can be a con. But if it's a pro for you, you want to use it to your advantage. You want to use that leverage to your advantage. When these logistics companies come to you for favors, which they probably come if you an MC, you're going to get probably asked this every day. There wasn't a day when I was at Dynamics that they didn't ask me to bail them out because every day there was a couple ICs that didn't come to work. Monday was always the day that was notorious for ICs not showing up. Monday was the day. So every Monday, Mark, you got an extra truck. You got an extra truck. Can we pull some stops off this truck and put them on a few of your trucks? And guess what? The more you bail them out, when it's time to go to that bargaining table, man, this is what I need. This is what I need. And then you can throw stuff in their face. Well, remember, I've been doing this for y'all all this time. Every Monday, I'm bailing y'all out. This dude on route number 42, he don't never show up. We that's damn near our route now. We running that route more than the IC who runs that route is running it because he's never here. Then you start throwing stuff in their face because you got that leverage because you're able to do things that an IC can't do. An IC can only be responsible for his 1 truck and 1 route. He doesn't have the luxury of being able to help these logistics companies when they need help, and then in return, lean on them when, man, you know what, I need a little bit more per stop, or I want a guarantee. Mark, I don't know what it's like to have a per piece. Never had a per piece payout. I've always operated off a guarantee because I've always had leverage. All right, so that is a pro of competitive advantage. All right, come on in, hit that like button as you come on in. Appreciate all y'all for rocking with the boy on Easter. Sonny, for everybody that came in late, happy Easter. I hope you guys are enjoying your Easter. I hope you guys enjoyed your Easter. I hope you guys had a healthy, prosperous Easter. I hope, your family is healthy. I hope that you guys ate really, really well. So for everybody that came in late, happy Easter. All right. All right, so let's get to the next one. So that's some pros, which are some advantages. Now let's get to some disadvantages. Additional expenses. Additional expenses. Now, here's something that's gonna mess y'all up. It may not mess some of y'all up. Additional expenses. When you're scaling, you're gonna spend more money. Well, Mark, you said the business should scale itself. Exactly. The business should scale itself. All right. So when I say the business should scale itself, I think a lot of the times people think I mean that the business should wholeheartedly have the whole cash flow to go out and get that second truck or that third truck. In a lot of situations, that is possible. But in the other situations, I also mean the business should be at a point where it's mature enough that if you have to use business credit, business lines of credit, right, then you can also utilize that as well. But you still need to be profitable with truck one. Don't just go using business lines of credit because it's available. Still make sure you're profitable with truck one. You may not have the whole cash flow to go buy it. And that's not necessarily what I mean when I be like truck one should go buy truck two. What I mean is the business should be established, the business is profitable, and it's ready for scale. Not you're struggling with truck one, but you still got a business line of credit of 20 grand. And well, you know what? I'm going to go use this business line of credit because truck one is failing. But if I go get the second truck, then 1 + 1 = 2, which adds. So now I should be making more money. No, it doesn't work like that. It doesn't work like that. It doesn't work like that.
Stupid. All right. Use your common sense.
That's stupid. You got to use your common sense. All right. You got to use your common sense. It's like I said the other day. If you're failing in truck one, you're gonna fail in truck two. If you scale, you're just gonna duplicate your failure. That's all scaling is. It's just a duplicating. All right, just duplicating. If you're failing, what makes you think you go get this second truck, you're going to succeed? Don't work like that. All right, so make sure your first truck is succeeding. Make sure it's profitable. Make sure you're running a profitable business before you decide to scale. Now, business is profitable. We're making money. We're running on 20% margin. We've been running on 20% margin for about a year now. This company is telling me they need some more trucks. I think I'm ready to move up. I got two guys that are hungry. I've been really vetting these guys. I think they're gonna come in here and they're gonna do what they need to do. All right. I got some cash flow, but I've also been in business 2 years. I have a nice line of business credit. My business credit score is pretty good. I know I'm gonna have to personally guarantee it anyway. My personal credit is great. So whatever I need to do to get going. You're not going into your own personal pocket. See, this is what I'm talking about. When people go into their own personal pocket to scale a business. No, it's either the cash flow from the business that is available that you can source, right? To acquire those additional pieces of equipment or additional equipment and whatever else you need to start the process of scaling to another truck, right? Or the lines of credit, the capital, the lines of credit or the business credit that you have, not anything personal. Because I know a lot of people that have come to me that have dug into their own personal pocket. Well, Mark, man, the business wasn't established. Okay, the business is not going to be established because it's a new business. That means you personally guarantee it. What's personally guaranteed? It means you're co-signing for the business. See, don't let these guys fool you at these dealerships and all these other places. They don't want you to know these things. You see what I'm saying? I've talked to a few people that's done went through the woo-wop. You can listen. You can co-sign for your son. You can co-sign for your daughter. You can co-sign for your wife. You can co-sign for your uncle, your cousin, Ray, whoever. You can co-sign for your business as well. Well, how do you know, Mark? I've co-signed for things all the time. For the business. When the business was new, I had to co-sign. The first new truck I bought, I had to co-sign. The second new truck I bought, I had to co-sign. business lines of business credit cards. I had to co-sign for business credit cards with Capital One. All my business credit cards, I had to personally guarantee them. So you're going to co-sign. But I didn't personally go in my personal bank account with my personal name and pull out personal funds to go buy all my other trucks that I bought cash. I didn't pull my personal money to go do that. I pulled money from the business. Those trucks was buying those trucks. All my used trucks I cashed out, wrote a check. Wop, boom, here. Let me get that. Let me get them keys. Toss the keys to whoever rode out there with me. Boom, follow me back to the yard. All right? Wrote a check, a business check, not a marked personal check. All right? So that's what I mean by the business should scale the business. Don't go back into your personal pocket. Listen, if you got a truck, and I'm reiterating this, I know I said this the other day too. If you got a truck and you think you're ready to scale, this is how you know if you're ready to scale or not. If you don't have the business credit, or you can't personally guarantee the business, right? Or you don't have the cash flow for the business to go out and get those additional assets, then it's not time to scale. If you got to go into your personal funds to scale, then it's not time to scale. Even if you're making the money and you're not doing the accounting right, where you're paying yourself too much and you don't have cash flow, then it's not time to scale because you don't even know how to run your business as far as the bookkeeping is concerned. That means you're making money, but you're robbing the business. You're robbing from the sustainability of the business. You're paying yourself entirely too much that the business doesn't have enough money to scale. So you're not ready to scale in that aspect either because you don't know what you're doing as far as the accounting of the business. You've been robbing from the sustainability of the business. So that's the rule of thumb. That's the rule of thumb. All right. That's how you know if you should scale or not. If you got to go into anything personal, it's not time to scale. All right. So additional expenses. All right. So if the business has those additional expenses, then it's fine. It's a con because you're taking capital from the business to scale. But if you have a plan and the business is ready to scale, that money that you've taken, right, to acquire these resources that you're buying, these assets, whether it's equipment, whatever, new manpower, the cost of training the new manpower, the equipment that you got to outfit the truck with, all that stuff, your dollies, your straps, whatever, you're going to make that money back. And you should have a plan on how long it's going to take you to recoup, all right, the money that you've invested in scaling. All right, look, we're going to go purchase this new truck. We're going to have these new guys. Boom. It's going to cost me about 30 grand all in, man. We should recoup that in 6 months. If you don't have a plan, if you got the money, you don't even have a plan to even know when you're going to recoup your investment, then it's not time for you to scale. You could have the money, but if you don't have the plan, it's not time for you to scale because you're not ready up here. If you don't know what recoup means, look it up. All right, look it up. All right, so you got to have a plan for all of this stuff. All right, so, all right, human resources. Now, this is a big thing, one of the biggest cons. But I'm not doing advantages, disadvantages, pros, and cons where I'm outlining. I'm telling you what the pros are, giving examples, giving you some personal experiences. Same thing with the cons. We're going to talk a little bit about it. And then if I have a personal experience on a particular one, then I'll talk about it. All right. Human resources is going to be the biggest issue. Dealing with people is just is what it is. All right. You hear me talk about it all the time. It's worse now than it has ever been before. One, now because it's just hard finding people to begin with now. It was easier to find people back in the day, but once you find those people, you know, it's a lot of pros and it's a lot of cons that, you know, I can put into this, but I only want to focus on key ones. All right. So that's why the pros was short, and I kind of focused on key ones on the economies of scale, and then we're gonna focus on this for the cons. So we got management, labor, economics, skill training. You probably like, how are these cons? All right. So growth. How is that a con? Growth, talent acquisition, engagement, satisfaction, competitive advantage, team building, brainstorming. Competitive advantage, let's start there. Let me jump around because I already pretty much told you the pro for competitive advantage, the same thing as on the con, the flip coin on the con for competitive advantage. You may be the top dog compared to these guys down here, but it may be somebody that come in here that may be the top dog over you. So they have the competitive advantage over you. So it's gonna always be like, a tier thing. You're gonna be bigger than some people gonna be bigger than you. You may be able to lean so much because guess what? Hey, we willing to give you this because you doing better than these guys, you bigger than these guys, but we can't give you the whole pie because we gotta leave room for the big dog that's bigger than you, that got the more competitive advantage of you. Because guess what? If you do something to piss us off, or we do something to piss you off, that's fine. You only got 5 trucks. They got 15. So we more worried about him because we can cover your stuff with them. But we can't cover their stuff with you. So we willing to give you a little bit, you know what I'm saying? But we ain't willing to give you too much. So competitive advantage can be a pro and it can be a con. Satisfaction. A con with business, you always gotta you gotta deal with the consumer. Let's say you run a final mile, you gotta deal with the consumer, you gotta deal with the workers, you gotta deal with the management, you gotta deal with the third party logistics company, day operations manager, the branch manager. And as an owner, right? You're always out to satisfy somebody. You're getting tugged in so many different directions. And it just goes back to what I was saying the other day on that live stream, problem solving. You're to go, you want this position, you want to scale, you want to be this big dog with all these trucks. And it's gonna put you in a position where you're just getting tugged in so many different directions. And the people that are tugging you, they're coming to you to satisfy whatever problem they have. Your worker, I want more money. All right. The consumer, I need the trucks here on time. Why is the truck running late? What can you do to satisfy me for your truck running late? The third party logistics company, Mark, we need more trucks. These contractors didn't show up. Can you help us out? We really appreciate if you can help us out. We really appreciate it. Can you help us out? And by the way, I know you're doing great things for us, but when can you come out here to Addison for a meeting? We want to just run some things by you. And usually I remember when they used to call me out there to come out there, it normally because I was hitting them upside their head and they wanted to renegotiate the rate. All right. I was hitting them upside their head. All right. So, but ultimately everybody that's pulling you, right? They're pulling you so that you can satisfy them in some type of way. And to me, that's a con because that used to drive me crazy at my peak. It's like a constant tug of war. I'm getting pulled. My office staff, I'm getting pulled. Mark, we need verification for this. Mark. Got Mike Cohen calling me at Select Express. He never wanted to talk to nobody else unless it was me or my brother. Him and my brother became very cordial to the point where he would rather talk to my brother because he didn't want to negotiate with me. And I would get really, really mad at my brother sometimes for some of the rates that he would accept from Mike. Because Mike knew I was a stickler. I need it. What y'all getting paid for the Mark? I'll send you. Mike would send me the rate sheet that they were getting from the retailer. And in some cases, I'm like, man, I need all of that. Y'all gonna have to take an L on that because guess what? It's costing me this much to do that stop. And we're bailing you guys out because you got these ICs out here that ain't worth the hill of beans. So man, I need all of that. I'm come on, Mike. And he would have to do it because ultimately he would have to satisfy the retailers. Sometimes they would take an L, but you're constantly having to satisfy people, and that could be mentally draining on you. All right. When you're running a fleet of trucks, you're running that scale, you're getting pulled in a bunch of different directions. So this is something that you need to know and you need to be prepared for it. Now, I'm not discouraging nobody. I think scaling and running a multitude of trucks is a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing. I hope everybody can get to 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. How many trucks you want to get to? But, with that, it comes a lot of mental stress and being pulled in many different directions. So it can be a con, all right? It can be a con. Talent acquisition, that's a con in today's times, all right? Acquiring talent, all right? You want to scale, you're going to have to acquire talent, all right? Workers, all right? It's tough now, all right? It's very tough acquiring people, and it's also tough retaining people, all right? So talent acquisition is a con in today's times. Back in the day, and when I'm saying back in the day, I'm talking about maybe 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years ago. Not that long ago, it wasn't really a big thing. You know what I'm saying? Finding a job was hard. You know what I'm saying? You would have a stack of applications like this, but talent acquisition now can be a con. A lot of companies, you got McDonald's closing locations. All these places are closing locations mainly because they just don't have, they can't staff them properly. All right. So talent acquisition is a con. Growth can be a con in some aspects, right? Because some people may be ready for the growth financially as far as the business, but they may not have the mental capacity to go along with their mental capacity, and it may not be growing with the business. All right. So some people, they know what it takes to be successful, right? And to get that success, but they don't understand that as the business grows, they have to re-educate and educate themselves to understand how to grow with the business. You may have the business sense to get you to this point, but now you need to find the business acumen, the business sense to take you to the next level. And sometimes people don't understand. They may have to talk to somebody that has scaled their business to a certain aspect. Maybe take a course on business. You know what I'm saying? Maybe take a course on just the fundamentals of business. All right. So growth can be a hindrance to some people, and some people you'll see some businesses, right? They'll grow, and then they'll hit that ceiling, and then they'll just get stagnant, right? And then they'll be stagnant there for a minute, and then ultimately they'll start to decline, right? They got their growth killed them. Amazon, I'm not saying Amazon's growth killed them, but I think Amazon grew so quick, so fast that ultimately they hit that ceiling, and now you're seeing their business decline. Is Amazon going out of business? No, that's not what I'm saying. All right. But they were growing so fast and they were building all these warehouses. And I said this too at one point. And then their turnover rate is high, right? Their turnover rate is high. All right. And from what I'm understanding, correct me if I'm wrong, and this is not from a contractor point, this is from an employee point, that once they terminate you, you can never work there again. So they don't have a 90-day period or 1 year period like a lot of businesses do. I talked to someone from Amazon Friday. I talked to someone from Amazon Friday, and she informed me that, once Amazon terminates you, you can never come back. They won't allow you to come back. So I always thought, well, damn, if they continue to hire these people and this turnover rate is like this, right? It's this high. Eventually, they're gonna run out of people to hire. So sometimes a business can, grow too fast, and ultimately it can succumb to its growth. I'm not saying that in the aspect of Amazon, but it does happen. All right. So it can be a con, just like it can be a pro. Engagement. To me, engagement is a con. To some people, it may not be a con. The reason why I say engagement is a con because it takes time away from you, because you, the boss, everybody wants to talk to you, and then you have a moral responsibility to make sure you talk to everybody. You got to make sure you talk to all your people, your staff. You're not the CEO of Amazon. You're not the CEO of McDonald's. So you're not at a point where, people just know your name and they see your face hanging. Those types of CEOs and those types of bosses, people already know we'll never get to see this guy. We'll never get to talk to this guy. When you're running a small business, People want to see you, people want to talk to you. There's people that want to go around people to get to you. Everybody feels like they can talk to you. All right, so you have to kind of engage with people. Um, that was something, at my peak that I struggled with, because I had people to talk to certain people, but everybody always want to talk to me. You know what I'm saying? And I'm just like, yo, I got a fleet manager, I got an operations manager, I got hand your paperwork to Genesis. Genesis does all the paperwork. When y'all come in, y'all hand y'all paperwork to her so she can input it into the computer so y'all get paid. Why y'all giving it to me? Well, man, we just want to make sure it end up in the right hands. Bro, it's going to end up in the right hands because I'm paying her to have the right hands. She's the right hands. I'm not the right hands. Give it to her. Because once you give her the paperwork, she's going to input it into the computer and send it to me so I can send it to Swice, the accounting firm, so they can make sure y'all get y'all checks next Friday or this Friday or whenever. You see what I'm saying? So engagement, just talking to people, knowing how to talk to people, when to talk to people, knowing how to move around. A lot of times I would just close my office door. Close it. Listen, if the door is closed, that means don't talk to me. Don't come in. I don't want to talk. I'm busy. Especially on payroll days. Payroll days, I don't want to talk to nobody. I don't want to talk to nobody. The days when we're submitting payroll to accounting firm, because I would go over it before we submit it, before they cut the checks. So I would make sure everything right. And that was an all-day process. You're talking about 30, 35 people going through 2 weeks of paperwork, looking at every single job in detail to make sure everybody's getting paid what they need to get paid. Because another thing is people gonna go over their check, and the last thing I need a person coming back saying, hey, man, check $20 short. You know what I'm saying? Then I gotta go over to her and be like, they saying it's $20 short. This is the reason why, blah, blah, blah. Because they're gonna come to me. So engagement. I worked there for almost 2 years as a warehouse associate, breadwinner. Okay. Where we leave off at? Growth, engagement, team building, and sort of like talent acquisition. And this is prevalent today. Building teams, it can be a con because it's just difficult to build. And here's why it's difficult. It's not just finding the people, hiring the people, retaining the people. When you're building a team, especially like doing final mile, and you're hiring, let's say for a specific route, you got to hire 2 people. So not only are you building a team, you got to build the right team of people that can work together. So that the more you hire people and the more you build teams, you'll know how to move people around. So you may build this team and they may not be working that well together. You may got the guy who's really, really strong on this team, and then you got a guy who's strong, but he's just not. He got it, but he just don't got it. They work okay together, but this guy is really putting more strain on this guy. And this guy can be 100% A1 top dog, but because he's putting in 60%, because this guy's only putting 40 when they should be putting in 50-50, right? It's taken away from this guy, being outstanding. So if I know I got this guy over here that's running one man curbside and he's really a dog with it, and I can put him over here with this guy, and that means I can increase productivity over here. I can pay this guy more even though the workload is going to be heavier. Take this guy out because I know he'll be good with curbside final mile because he's not weak. He just ain't cut out for this. He can do the pallet thing. Now I'm putting him in a position to succeed and excel more. I'm moving this guy out, offering him more money. Now this crew is excelling. It can excel better, and ultimately that can increase the profitability for this particular route because now we can add another stop. They're knocking out 10 stops, and you know what? Y'all can add us another stop and add us another 2 stops. So you got to know how to build the right team. You got to know how to vet people as they come in, and as they come in, you got to know how to position them and put them and build the right team to work together. Not everybody works well with each other. I've had people that I built teams, moving teams, final mile teams. People get into it on the job. People get into a truck. I've had fights where people feel like this person was stealing the tips. this person, I had a crew that kept coming to me like, man, we think so and so is stealing all the tips. Why you think they stealing the tips? Because every time we get done with a job, when he's doing the invoice, he tells us to go to the truck and fold the blankets. Okay, well the blankets do need to get folded before the next job. You don't want to pull up on another job with a messy truck. Fold the blankets. He the driver of the truck, so he's taking that leadership role. I can't really knock him. But man, well, we approached him. We kind of stood behind the corner one day and we kind of saw she gave him so much. And then we confronted him on it. And he said, well, since he the driver, he deserves to get more of the tips. So you already know what happened. They wanted to get down on him. So because he was still in the tips. Tips should get split equally. So that was a conversation I had to have with this guy. Like, look, y'all on the truck together. If it's three of y'all, or if it's three of y'all and the person give a $75 tip, that's $25 a piece. You can't take 50 and then have these other two guys split 25 because you just feel like you're moving and you're driving. You just feel like they don't deserve it. It don't work like that. If they're not carrying their workload, then you need to come talk to me, right? Or you need to talk to my brother or somebody and let them bring it to me. But the tips get split down the middle. I don't want to hear about you stealing the tips. You don't decide how much they get. All right. So, I had to snatch that guy out because they was going to get down on him. But then now don't nobody want to work with him. You see, now don't nobody want to work with him. Or when people do work with him, what I was finding out, they was doing goofy stuff like the customer would get ready to pay, and now everybody crowding in the foyer because they don't trust this guy. He's taking the payment and doing the invoicing and stuff, getting the credit card, whatever the situation is, and they just all standing there looking. So now the customer is standing there. Okay, it's one guy that's doing our pay. Why are these other two guys standing here looking? It's just it just made for an awkward, uncomfortable situation for the customer. So now I gotta decide what I gotta do with this goofball. You see what I'm saying? So I can't put him with nobody because nobody trusts him. What am I gonna do with this guy? So I end up having to take him off, and I end up having to put him on a van route for Select Express for Container Store, something that he could do by himself. So just team building the right team, putting the right, because the guy was a good guy. He came to work every day. This was a guy that came to work every day. He just felt like he deserved more to tip than everybody else. He never stole my money though. But you gotta know how to put people together. I had other crews that were fighting or finna fight, and hey, Mark, don't put me with this guy no more. So you got to know how to, when you hire people, how to place them in the right spot so that they can excel and that they can mesh with other people as well. So we got team building, engagement, growth, talent acquisition. So that can be a con because that can be difficult. It can be difficult, like putting people together from different walks of life that don't know each other, that never work together, doing labor intensive work on a hot summer day. It can be challenging. So that is a con because it stresses you out. Because it's just something you got to deal with. Like I don't like dealing with catty stuff, and to me that's catty, but it's just something that got to happen. All right, so that's team building, idea, satisfaction, talent acquisition. I think that's it. All right. So that's pretty much it that I want to talk about as far as pros and cons. And like I said, these things can be applied to any business. You know what pros are in business. You know what the cons are of business. So if you're starting a business, you know what you're walking into. You can kind of create a plan around these things so that when they come, you already have an action plan in place, especially if you're going to box truck business. That's why I wanted to give you guys some examples of just experiences that I had in certain categories like that. Still go out and do it. Just make sure that you scale when it's time to scale. Um, Make sure you scale when it's time to scale. And I hope everybody can experience scaling their business. It is a beautiful thing. But with that, extra revenue that comes in, it's a lot more work. It's a lot more work. It's a lot more work. If you know, people ask me all the time on live, Mark, if you could scale again, would you scale again? Absolutely not. I've been there and done it. I've been there and done it. Would I want to? If would I do it again at this time in my life? No. But if I was the 30-year-old Mark again, yeah, I would do it. The 43-year-old Mark, no, I'm straight. I know for me, I've done it. You know, I did it. I made money from it. It put me in the position now where I got other stuff going. I don't have to deal with that many people. But I do promote that people go out and still get that experience. Get that experience. And when you do get that experience, and hopefully you can scale to 1,000,000 trucks, you do what you're supposed to do with the money from those trucks, so that ultimately, if you decide that you want to scale down, or you want to do other things, you got the capital, you got the streams of revenue, and you can just ultimately scale down. You don't have to deal with all the headaches. It's more of a mental thing with scaling. It's more of a mental thing. The more trucks you have, the more situations you're gonna have. Then another thing you guys got to deal with is the liability aspect. The more trucks you have, the more liability, the more situations that you're in. The more trucks you got on the road, the more liable you become. Eventually, you know, people are gonna start counting your pockets. That's what I really want to talk about, and that's why I kind of pause. But probably not. I don't want to talk about it. I want to talk about it, but it's probably not for this live stream. But in the G-rated version, real quick, you know, people gonna start counting your pockets. You know what I'm saying? So that's just a part of the thing. That's something you got. That's a con. You know, the more trucks you got, the more money you got. Your lifestyle is gonna start changing, and people gonna start counting your pockets. Your workers, they're gonna start getting envious and jealous of you. You may get a lawsuit here or there because they feel like you got it. I've been through all of that. You know, it's more cons that I really wanted to add into this, but I didn't. I wanted to speak on the more educational stuff instead of going down a laundry list of pros and cons that I could. But you know, it is what it is. Honestly, I'm not sure. I checked his MC. It looks pretty good. I haven't fully got to vent him out. What y'all talking? One guy I know in Atlanta. All right. So, any questions? Any questions? Any questions? I saw a lot of engagement in the chat, so I guess y'all engaging with each other. Any questions? Time to go to the gun range. 2 trucks would be my max, I believe. You said 2 trucks would be your max. If that's what you feel your max is, then yeah, that would be your max. I think in today's times, like another question a lot of people ask me, what do I think I would be able to do in today's times what I did 10 years ago? No, I wouldn't be able to do it. As far as acquiring the trucks, yeah, the trucks would be higher, but I think I would still be able to acquire them, right? I don't think I would be able to get the people. And even if I were to get the people, I don't think I would be able to retain the people because, you know, the way I was running at my peak, I was running hard. I was running hard. Once I realized that, look, and I didn't realize, you know, if you'd have told me 10 years ago, hey, Mark, 10 years from now, the way people look at employment is going to be totally different than the way they look at it now. We're going to have this boss culture. We're going to have a generation Z. They're going to be ready to go to work. They're going to be at the age where they can go to work. They're not going to want to go to work. They're going to be lazy. Live streaming didn't exist back then. There was no streaming. There was no Twitch. There was no way for people. There was no way like these guys like Mr. Beast and all these guys who can make millions of dollars. None of these ways existed. So I wouldn't have believed it that way. The reason why I was running so hard and putting money to the side and investing money into other things is because I knew in the industry that I was in, when I lost my first account, I realized that, man, it don't last forever. I'm only good to them as they are good to the retailer. If the retailer gets rid of them, then I lose the account by default. And the first time that happened to me, I'm like, man, this may not be forever, because at one point I thought it was. I'm thinking like, man, I can really build this business and then I can pass this down to my family. And no, because after I lost that first account, because they lost it, I went to another company and then they got bought out. So I lost it again. And I'm like, man, so this account based stuff, it's only good as long as they got the account. So I knew eventually I would get tired of it. So I was running 7-day-a-week accounts. I was running trucks 7 days a week. I was running hard. And I knew, and I know now that if I would try to do that in today's time, one, ain't nobody finna run 7 days hard today. They not gonna do it. You can't even get a person to work 5 days. All right. So going back to what you said, 2 trucks, I think that's a good number. I think that's a good number. 5 trucks, I think 5 trucks would be really difficult to run in today's times. Consistently. Let's say you're running curbside final mile. That's just 5 guys. You know, that may be difficult. If you running big and bulky, that's 10 guys. Maybe more if you got a route that's got a 3-man route. You know, just to get people to come to work every day is difficult. You know, it's difficult. It's difficult. Would you grow your business then sell it, Mark? Would I grow it, your business then sell it? Yeah, if you can grow a business and sell it, that's the name of the game now. You can grow your business and sell it. So if you can start a business, right, and build that business up and ultimately sell it in so many years, then yeah, walk away. That's the name of the game now. Things are changing so rapidly now, you don't hold on to anything anymore. Like the days of building something, like in my parents' generation, back in the 50s and the 60s, starting a business, building it, lasting forever and ever and a day. Nah, man. Because nowadays, the way it looks, the way things look, you can build a business. You might have a 10, 15, 20-year run, if that, and then technology will come in and create something and replace it. And then you become non-existent, you know. So if you can build something and sell it, right, to a company that's bigger, that may have a longer longevity. Like I was reading an article earlier today about how Google bought YouTube in '08 for 1.65 billion. So Google bought YouTube in '08 for 1.65 billion, and today Google makes 1.65 billion every 3 weeks off of YouTube. All right. So here's the thing. I say that to say this. What if YouTube didn't sell what if YouTube didn't sell to Google? Would they have been able to continue to scale YouTube to the point that Google has been able to scale it? Probably not, right? Sort of like with Snapchat. Mark Zuckerberg wanted to buy Snapchat, I think for $1 billion. Snapchat people didn't want to sell it for whatever reason. They didn't want to sell it. The only thing that Snapchat had that nobody else had was that disappearing story, right? But that's not something that they could ultimately go through the processes of making it their own that nobody else could duplicate it. So when they didn't sell it, all Mark Zuckerberg did was just create story for Facebook and Instagram. And ultimately you saw Snapchat's value slowly start to decrease. If you go look at the 5-year chart for Snapchat, it's just decreasing. All right, because now since Facebook and has added story, to their platform, like Snapchat isn't in a league of their own anymore. Nothing makes them unique anymore. So in some cases, I should say, if you can build a business so to a certain point, and there's a bigger company that has interest in it, then nowadays it's probably best to sell it if you can. And there's a few ways you can sell your business. You can sell it outright, or you can sell off the assets. So like I knew during the pandemic that I was never going to operate at the scale that I had operated years past. I came to the realization that it wasn't not going to happen. So I took advantage of the high cost of equipment, right? People buying equipment at a higher cost, right? 4 times, 3, 4 times the amount. So I just started selling off trucks, right? I started selling off trucks, still running the business, but just selling off trucks at 3 to 4 times the amount than what they were worth. All right. So you can use that format too. But yeah, growing a business and selling it, I think that's the way to go. You can take that money and reinvest it into a new idea and keep it moving. Now the name of the game is to keep it moving. You don't want to hold on for nothing too long. You want to get it to a peak point of success. Maybe put it on the market, see what happens. If you get some bites, see what people are biting for, and ultimately, if it's something that you agree with, if it's life changing money, or if it's enough money that you've recouped all your money, you've made money over the years, you've sold this business, now you got a big old pot of money that you can take a percentage of that, invest into another business, new stream of revenue, and then bank the rest. That's the name of the game now. So yeah, I would definitely grow a business and sell it. Uh, Daniel says he has friends that don't speak to him because he started his own trucking company. That happens. That happens. When you hire drivers, is it better to have trucks for them or let them have their own trucks? If they have their own trucks, then they're leasing on to you. So if you're in California, that's illegal now. Joe Biden has something in the infrastructure bill where he's trying to duplicate what AB5 is in California. So as of right now, it's legal to do lease on and all the other states in the country, but in California, what you're talking about is leasing on. That's completely up to you. If you want to hire drivers and put them in your trucks, that's fine. If you want to get accounts and then onboard drivers and um or contractors because they have their own trucks and just send them to different places to run loads for you, that's fine as well. Ultimately, the decision is up to you. You just need to check with your state and make sure uh there's no laws that are prevent you to do leased on. California is the only one that I know at this point that you can't do that with. But yeah, that's completely up to you. Oh, let's see my mic, not my mic, but my mouse. Hold on. Let me see my mouse. Oh, there you go. How much would you charge a company to use your truck? How much would I charge a company to use my truck? I don't rent my trucks out. If I was in the rental business though, I would depends on if I was in a household rental business or the commercial truck rental business. If I was in a household truck rental business, I would try to keep my rates competitive to U-Haul. So probably $20 for the truck and maybe 99 cents a mile. If I was at commercial truck rental, I think coming in, I would try to have a competitive edge over the competition, which would be Ryder, Budget, um, and Penske. I think I would charge maybe $99 a day for a 26 footer and $100 a day. And I'm gonna be honest with y'all. I gotta. The market is saying 20 cent on the low. I'm seeing 32, 35 cent on the high. So being a new guy coming in, I gotta keep the cost as low as possible to bring in the consumer to make a presence and so people can get the name out there. Probably do $100 a day, $99 a day, 21 cent a mile. That's how I would start if I was renting on the commercial side. Any books on business or business owners we should read? The autobiography of Sam Walton. The 4 Hour Work Week is good. I actually posted that a while back. I think that's good because um, it helps you. Uh, it helped me come to the realization that time was more important than money. my time is worth more than my money, So it made me, realize that, I have to figure out ways to make money so I can have more time to do the things that I want to do. Um, because what happens when you're building a business, especially during the initial phases of building, and then like even at scale, like from 2009, 2010 to about 2020, like man, it's like my life was just consumed with business. I really didn't have time to do nothing I wanted to do, and if I did do things that were cool, I was forced to do those things. You know what I'm saying? So, and when I mean forced, like my girl would just be like, "Look, we going here, we going there. It is what it is." Blah blah blah. So that's what I mean by forced. Um, so I would read those two books. Um, trying to think of another good book. I don't like saying Rich Dad Poor Dad. Man, everybody read that book. Whoop de doo. I'm trying to think of things that can ultimately make you things that change my way of thinking. None of these books changed my life. They just changed my way of thinking. So 4 Hour Work Week, and I think Sam Walton's autobiography. Those two good business books to read. See, I like Sam Walton because I like how he did a lot of stuff. And I like how he thought about a lot of things way back then that have kept them around in today's time competing against companies like Walmart. The only thing that I think the Waltons dropped the ball on were like research and development, R&D when it came to e-commerce because they had that footprint for years and years and years and years prior to even Amazon coming in. So when the internet came around, and even when let's say Jeff Bezos started Amazon with the books, they had they had the money to do the R&D, and they should have still been like, look, people are creating websites selling to consumers one good. What if we were able to sell everything on our shelves on a website? That would be easy. The only thing they would have to figure out back then, uh, that we know now, but they would have had to figure it out back then, were how they would handle the logistics part of fulfilling these orders. Um, but at the end of the day, they had the capital and the money to put into R&D to do so. Walmart should have been Amazon way, as far as what Amazon does as far as e-commerce. Um, that's the only where I think Walmart dropped the ball. But everywhere else, Walmart, if you read the autobiography of Sam Walton, and I actually screenshotted some passages some months ago. I think I put them up on Instagram on my community post where a lot of the stuff that he was implementing in the 50s are things that are still prevalent today that has kept them around when a lot of other big box retailers have come and gone. Your Montgomery Wards, your and I know Walmart sells groceries too, but big box retailer is big box retailer. Your Montgomery Ward, your Ventures, your Ames, your Zayres, all these stores that no longer exist. You know what I'm saying? And Walmart is still here, and they're not going anywhere. You know what I'm saying? A lot of if you go to a Walmart, they own the whole outlet. They own the whole outlet. If you go to a Walmart, Walmart sits in the back, and then you got these outlets in the front, right? With whatever Wingstop. You may have a ATI therapy place. You may have a Lens Crafters, whatever. Walmart owns all that real estate. They're renting to those other retailers. They own the real estate. Same thing with McDonald's. When Ray Kroc stole McDonald's from the McDonald's brothers, right? He saw a bigger vision than they saw. He turned McDonald's. McDonald's is really a real estate company. That's how McDonald's makes a big portion of their money. They're really a real estate company. Every McDonald's you see, McDonald's owns that real estate. McDonald's Corporation, not the owner operator, the franchisee. They're renting that location. They own the business. They give their franchise fees, whatever that percentage is, back to McDonald's Corporation. But as far as the land, the business structure, McDonald's owns it. McDonald's owns it, and that's why they're still around. So, you know, read the book of Sam Walton and the autobiography, and read the 4 Hour Work Week. I think those would be some good businesses. I mean, good books for you to read for business. So, Mark, how do you approach a friend that wants to drive for you but be off the books? I mean, it's up to you. If you want to hire them and keep them off the books, that's up to you. But be prepared of the repercussions that may come down the line. And then also be prepared of y'all friendship may be coming to an end at some point. And this is me keeping it funky with you. I've had friends work for me that don't work for me, that work for me, and that we're no longer friends. And I'm talking about like great friends, good friends, best of friends. And at the end of the day, you can put your friend, and I'm talking about at scale. You can put your friend in a better position than everybody else, but ultimately it's going to come a time where you're going to have to make a decision as a businessman, and your friend going to want you to make a decision as a friend, and ultimately that's going to jeopardize your relationship. And I'm just speaking from experience because it's happened. I still got one of my best homies now. I had to fire him. This man went and drew unemployment off me. I was mad at this dude for years. I mean, he's still my best friend, but I had to fire him. I don't even remember what I fired him for. We laugh about it now. But what pissed me off after I fired him, I got that letter from unemployment. So I'm thinking it's going to be his name. When I'm opening the envelope, I'm not thinking him. I'm thinking of some other dudes I probably fired, let's say in the last 30 to 60 days. But when I opened it up and it was him, I'm like, damn, you went to them people on me? That's how I felt. Like, man, you put them people in my business. Out of anybody, my homie. Yeah, I fired you, but you don't want to put them people in my business. Now you drawing unemployment off of me. Man, that pissed me off so bad, man. So, those are the pros and the cons of hiring a friend. You got a buddy working for you, but at the end of the day, it's going to come a time, because it always happens. It's going to come a time you're going to have to make a decision. And you're going to have to make a decision as a business owner, but your friend going to want you to make a decision as a friend. And that's where y'all going to clash at. But man, that was a good question, man. You made me think about that unemployment story. Anytime somebody asks a question and I got a story to tell or experience, then I tell it. You know what I'm saying? And that was just one situation of me hiring a friend. You know what I'm saying? I had other situations too. But as far as you keeping them off the books, that's a risk. Cause man, if anything happened, y'all might bump heads. He might go to the labor board on you. You know what I'm saying? You might get caught up in an audit. Anything can happen. So I can't really advise you on that. The decision kind of up to you. Is it easier to scale with one contract, or is it better to have several contracts because you can lose it? Uh, how many? Well, first you need multiple trucks to scale. Period. Whether it's one contract or multiple contracts. But if you got multitude of trucks, I think once you get beyond 3 trucks, I think you need to start diversifying. 3 trucks is fine in one place. But I think once you get to that 4 truck, I think you need to start looking at other companies. That's my personal opinion. MD says her drivers use her trucks. I let my drivers use my trucks if they got to do a personal move or something. I used to didn't do it back in the day, but now I'm older now, so I'm a little bit nicer now. You know, I was a lot more shrewd back in the day. I still am shrewd now as my time is winding down, you know what I'm saying? But the guys that I still have with me as they start to expire, um, the guys that I have left with me are more responsible guys that have been around in a while. Then once those guys have expired, then as they expire off, I'm done. But I let guys use my trucks to do personal stuff now. I didn't used to do that back in the day. When bidding on a contract, what's a good number? What's a good number to start at? It depends on what you're doing. Are you doing final mile? What are you doing? Is it furniture? Is it appliances? Where are you located? Um, because here's the thing. Some companies you may not get an opportunity to bid. They may say this is what it is, and that's just what it is. Curbside, you may have a little bit of opportunity to bid. Final mile, depending on the company, you may not have an opportunity. They may say, "Look, we're gonna pay you 700 for this route, and it's gonna be anywhere up to 12 stops." All right, they may not be like, "Can you take 750?" They may not go for it right off the bat. Maybe after a year running it, maybe you can go and maybe renegotiate. But that all depends. I think in general, if you're doing appliances, I think 750 is a good starting point to do 12 stops. Some people doing 15 stops at 750. I think up to 12 stops, 750 for appliances is good. I think furniture in some markets, depending on what markets you're in, somewhere between 650 to 750 is good. Curbside final mile. I know people. I got a sub right now who just hit me. Just got a contract with US Pack. That's another company, guys, that does curbside final mile. It's US Pack. I haven't talked about US Pack. I didn't even put them in my countdown the other day. But for those that are looking for other sources outside of the ones that I've talked about, US Pack is another one. It's on the lower side, which still could be good to some people. They're paying about $32 to $36 a stop for one man delivery, 26-foot box truck, curbside final mile. So you got 32 to 36 with US Pat. You got R&L carriers paying 50. You got T-Force paying somewhere between 40 and 50. You got American Expeditors paying somewhere between 5 to 800 a day for up to 12 stops. So it all depends on the market, depends on the contract and what you're doing. So those examples that I guess gave you to kind of go off, you can kind of go off those numbers. What's good, Mark? With the rise of shared spaces for warehouse becoming affordable and more easy to access, do you think starting at 3PL some type of fulfillment would be a smart move? I talked about this before recently. I've done cross docking. That's something that if I had to do it again, I wouldn't do it again. If I could go back and tell the old me, if the future me could go back and tell the 2016, 2017 me when I started cross docking what it would be like, that's something that I wouldn't do. All right. I would, things that I wouldn't do now, right? That I would still do back then, this not one of them. If I had the chance to go from the future to tell the past Mark, don't cross dock, I wouldn't have cross dock because it just costs a lot of money to do it. Now you talking about starting a 3PL company. Here's the thing with the 3PL company. You talking about starting a 3PL company. I did cross docking with a 20,000 square foot warehouse. When you talk about 3PL, third party logistics company, you're talking about a 1,000,000 square foot warehouse. You're talking about 50 to 100 dock doors. You're talking about a lot of money a month to rent. So I don't know if you mean 3PL in that aspect or do you mean cross dock? I'm assuming you mean cross dock. So with that being said, the experience is the experience. If that's something you want to experience, then by all means go for it. Me personally, you know, it's a lot of money to operate it. You know what I'm saying? And if you don't have if the companies aren't gonna pay you the cost of cross docking, if that makes sense. So, okay, nonstop delivery. We got 100 accounts with 100 different retailers. We're gonna funnel you all. We're gonna middleman you all the deliveries. You log into the portal and you start scheduling these deliveries to go to final mile. They're not paying me to store the goods. They're only paying me for the delivery or the reverse logistics to pick the stuff up and then to prep it and prepare it for reverse logistics for a middle mile truck to come back and pick it up and take it back. Even if they say discard it, we do reverse logistics. We do a Wayfair delivery. The customer don't like it. We get scheduled out a week later to go pick it up. We get paid $85 for the dry, $85 for the reverse logistics. Boom. What's up, y'all? What we doing? We sending this back? Nah, just discard it. They're not even covering the cost of my containers. I got two 10-yard containers and a 4-yarder. 4-yarder for garbage, right? I got a 10-yarder just for recyclable cardboard, right? And then I got another 10-yarder for trash. They're not even covering that. So man, discard of it. Discard of it. So I'm tossing it. That's taking up space in the dumpster. They're not even paying for that. They're not paying for the reverse logistics for the shrink wrap, the preparation of that, preparing it to get middle mount back. They're not covering the cost of all the propane for the forklift. They're not covering the cost of the warehouse staff. So if they sending me work, and the average pickup delivery, let's say, is $85 a stop, then all these stops have to cover the trucks that are going to do these stops, the teams that are on there, the staff that's in the office, and then all the warehouse stuff. So the cost that gets consumed to actually make that final mile delivery, right? And then the warehouse cost. When that middle mile truck comes in, right? It has to get unloaded. It has to get logged in. It has to get put into place. It's sitting in a place that's taking up real estate, which is considered storage. You see what I'm saying? You don't get paid for none of that. All right. So cross docking is a way for 3PLs to save money on their end. They go out and get the contracts, but look, instead of us putting a million square foot warehouse outside of Chicago, one outside of Houston, one outside of Dallas, one outside of San Antonio, one outside of St. Louis, one outside of Louisville, one outside of Indianapolis, one outside of Milwaukee, one outside of Detroit, one outside of Minneapolis, one outside of Sioux Falls, Dakota, one outside of LA, or maybe say 4 outside of LA, 3 outside of Chicago, 10 outside of New York, 2 or 3, one outside of Miami, one outside of Atlanta. You get the point. Third-party logistics company. We got this national account with Lowe's. We have to house a lot of this freight ourselves. So now we got to get warehouses all over the country. And this ain't the only account. We got Home Depot, we got Samsung, we got LG, we got the Container Store, we got Best Buy, we got Bob's, we got Ashley Furniture, we got this, we got that, we got this, we got that. So we got this 1,000,000 square foot warehouse, and we're consuming the cost of that 1,000,000 square foot warehouse. Just so we can say we got all these national accounts, but this warehouse is costing us money. Boom. So they got smart. And this is what they're doing now. Oh, you got a warehouse? What's your warehouse? 20 square foot? Okay, so we can get Wayfair in there. We can get Home Depot pickup, maybe a few furniture contracts, Webster Run we can probably put in there, a few little small time furniture online furniture store. Oh, okay, yeah, all right. So send us the scope of your warehouse. Send us all your insurance. Send us all this information. Boom, boom, boom. You go through the process. Boom. Now you start seeing trucks coming in dropping off freight. Now what happens is they're saving money, right? They get the accounts. They're still making their 50, 45, 50, 55% off top just for connecting the dots. But now what they've done is they've relinquished themselves from the cost of owning and operating a large warehouse space. And they put all that cost on you without compensating you for it. So would I do it again? No, because I understand that if you want to do it to experience it, I say go ahead and experience it. You know what I'm saying? Go ahead and experience it. The goal is for the 3PL to save money and put the money on the cross dot. So hope that answered your question. Think and Grow Rich is a good one. I got that one up there. I haven't read it in a while. DR says service merchandise. Yes, service merchandise is another old one. Service merchandise is an old one. Woolworth is an old one. Goldblatt's is another one. Ames is another one. I think I said Venture already. Montgomery Ward. Like, yeah, DR, he got some age on him if you talking about service merchandise. So old service merchandise. You can go to service merchandise and get a TV. They had a jewelry section. You could buy clothes. Yeah, so a lot of these stores don't exist no more. He said you got to be 35 and up to know about Montgomery Ward. Most definitely. Timberland saying, yeah, hour late. Appreciate you for tuning in. Do you recommend getting a CPA to save on taxes? I mean, at scale, yeah, get a CPA. There's no way, depending on how scaled you are, you're going to be able to maintain all that paperwork. Let me show you something. Let me show y'all something. Hold on. Where is all that paperwork? I had a bunch of paperwork. I might have shredded all this shit. Hold on. Hold on, y'all. All right. So I've been. All right. So look. This is about a month worth of paperwork for one account. All right. And this is how. See, people be thinking this is a joke. So this is for an account, and then this is how we put for accounting. We put the name of the team that was on there and the payout for these stops. So you'll see the name and then you'll see a dollar amount, right? But basically, because I don't want to put it because it's customers' information on here. This is an account. And then you see. But basically, this is a month worth of paperwork. All right. And you see, we put the names of the people, right? And the payout that they're going to get for doing that stop. And this is a month worth for one account. All right. For one account. All right. So imagine running that scale. The amount of paperwork. Let's say for 5 trucks, or 10 trucks, or 7 trucks, or 8 trucks. All right. You're not going to be able to keep a track of all this stuff. And then what's going to happen, you're going to get lost in the sauce and you're going to start messing up people's money. And then that's where the issue going to come in at. So I say that to say this. And a CPA is a beautiful thing, but it costs. All right. CPA cost me about $250 a month. All right. About $250 a month. If you need it, then that cost is going to pay for itself. It's a write-off anyway. If you're not at that point where you can manage your books by yourself, then manage your books by yourself. If you're at scale and you're dealing with a lot of paperwork, you got drivers doing 15 stops a day on this truck, 15 stops a day on that truck, 15. You got 10 trucks and all of them are doing 10 to 15 stops. Yeah, you're going to need a CPA. Because you just got a lot of paperwork. And managing the paperwork, doing the payroll, managing the books. And where a lot of people is getting into issues with now is they don't have a CPA. So a lot of people hitting me up like, man, Mark, I got to do my taxes, blah, 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 blah. And the thing with a CPA is they're keeping your books throughout the year. So when tax time comes around, only thing they doing is just pretty much hitting a button because they already got January, February, March, April, because they've been keeping your books the whole time. So what happens now in tax time when you don't have a CPA and you got to go do your taxes, you got to download all your statements. And if you're not an organized person where you don't just deal in one bank, you're downloading stuff from all over the place. And then you got to take it to this tax preparer, this accountant in February, right? And then they got to go back a whole year and do your books. But it's up to you. I recommend if you're running at scale, get a CPA. If you get one truck, then you can do it yourself. Just download QuickBooks and keep track of your stuff. Don't be lazy. Input everything. When you get gas, input it. Fuel. When you buy pins or whatever for the truck, gloves, input it. Miscellaneous. When you get credits, put them credits in. What company these credits come in? T-Force, $4,000. T-Force credit, 4,000. Payroll, debit, John, 1,000. Timmy, 800. Like, you got to keep up with this stuff. So that's up to you. 1 truck, 2 trucks, you can do it your truck. Maybe 3, 4 trucks on up. I would suggest getting a CPA. Because you're gonna have a lot of paperwork, bro. You're gonna have a lot of paperwork. And it don't stop. Like a lot of paperwork, bro. So let me see. You gotta be 35 and up. We know it's wild. The homie put them people on your life. Crazy. I have an ex-friend that I no longer deal with because he wants to do less because we friends. I feel it should be the other way around. I have a lot of friends that I'm not friends with for various reasons, but when you when you when you when you get into business and you scale, especially if you become successful, um, you're gonna start seeing like people that you would have never thought they had a jealous bone in their body. You're gonna see that bone start to protrude out their body. So it happens, man. Just if you want to scale and be really, really successful, just get prepared for that because it's gonna happen. How do you pay your employees 1099? Because technically your employees should be W-2s, but it seems like you can save money by paying them as independent. It depends. I pay people W-2s and I pay people 1099. It all depends on what the situation entailed. So it all depends on what the situation entailed. Moving people, W-2. Some contracts, 1099. Some contracts I paid 1099. Have I cut corners in business early on? Yeah. I've had to. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna not say sometimes, in some cases, you have to cut corners. Small business, operating a small business uh, can be very difficult, especially with the taxes, unemployment taxes, and all that stuff. So, yeah, majority of my employees are W-2. And then I paid people 1099 as well. But when I've done 1099, I've done lease agreement 1099s. So I've leased them my trucks, right? Leased them my trucks. So they rented my trucks from me, right, on a lease, right, to run a specific contract as their independent owner operator. So it's not like they didn't assume any of the costs for operating that truck. So basically, okay, here's a contract. This contract pays this much, so I'm going to pay you 80% of the contract. But with that, you're going to have to be an owner operator. You're going to have to lease the vehicle. You're going to have to cover the cost of the fuel. You're going to cover this. And because of that, you're going to get 80% of the contract. We'll take 20%. And that's how I did those contracts because I understood that with this particular contract, if I were to run it as an employee-based contract, I would lose money every single day. So look, since we're running X amount of trucks for this contract, if we can make $75 or $100 this way, I'm willing to make $75 to $100 every single day off this truck times however many trucks we were running for that contract, and this will allow to let the worker make the bulk of it. And then what I realized when I did that is the worker became much more responsible when they could make more money. When I put them in position to make more money, they weren't filling up. As a W-2, they would have to put gas in the truck every day. But when I did it this way, they only had to fill up 2 days out the week for a 5-day-a-week contract. They were much more mindful on how they operated the vehicle so that they could maximize their earning potential. So it worked out for me, it worked out for them. Um, and that's when I've 1099. So then as far as employees, my movers have always been employees. And then I've had other contracts, final mile, where I had guarantees, and I just knew that even if I paid them hourly, we would still make about 10 to 15% on the low side margin, and I would run it like that. Some days you'll take a hit, you know what I'm saying? The truck run into a situation, but most days everything worked out. I noticed that yourself and many others speak on the troubles with scaling. Is the quality of labor drivers? Any advice on finding quality people? Nowadays, it is. That wasn't an issue 10 years ago. Nowadays, that's the main issue. Um, and Yeah, I mean, you could have the money and the resources to buy as many trucks as you want, but if you don't have bodies in there to move those trucks, then it's just a truck. It's just a truck. So um, that's the main issue now with scaling the business is finding the people. Um, yeah, so that's probably why you hear me talk about it and you hear other people talk about it because it's just the truth. I'm not gonna be a if I'm gonna tell you and give you tips and tricks and pros and cons of this and that of scaling the business. I also gotta be honest with you and tell you, it's very difficult to scale a business in today's times. As far as like in this industry is concerned, getting people is going to be your toughest. Finding people and retaining people is going to be the hardest part. Finding people and retaining people is going to be the hardest part. I was in Lombard over the weekend, did deliveries for some Arabs who said they could use me around there. And did you know I didn't have any business cards on me? Yeah, it's good to have business cards too. I'm in Miami trying to get out of here. I'm sleeping in my box truck. You got to get it. Wasn't Montgomery Ward a part of Sears? Nah. No, Sears has always been Sears. Montgomery Ward was a totally separate company. Totally separate company. But Sears is another company that's pretty much Sears is still around, but they're damn near out of here. Uh, I'm in Chicago. Hypothetically, if you have a small cargo van and want to make 75,000 a year without doing OTR, what would your strategy be? You need to do a dedicated route, probably with T Force, Capstone, or Watco doing office supply delivery. You can make 75,000 a year doing that easily with the right route. With the right route. With the right route. So that goes. You're gonna have to do some politicking in there because obviously, when you go in there, they gonna start you with the worst route that don't nobody else want. With the right route, you can do 75, you can do 100. You can make about 400 a day with the right route if you got the pieces. You're gonna need the pieces to do it. So without going OTR, that's the way to go. There's other alternatives. You can do some final mile stuff that you can make that type of money. It's going to acquire some manual labor as far as some assembly, but you can do it that way as well. Like fitness equipment specifically, if you can deliver 3 or 4 treadmills, 3 or 4 fitness ellipticals uh, a day and assemble them, you can make that type of money easily. I know you've probably covered this before. What range of premiums should be expected for commercial insurance for box trucks, say 2017? He know under 240,000 miles with Mercury Insurance. Um, it depends on your market. It depends on your age. It depends on your MVR. So I can't really give you a range because if I were to give you a range on in today's market with the stuff that I see because I talk to people every day, people send me their insurance and stuff. Listen, I saw a guy the other day and I'm still trying to figure out $800. All right. And I'm on the low side. And then I've seen people paying, and then we're talking about one box truck, 2015, 2016, 2017, 2018, 2019, whatever. I've seen people paying 2,900 a month. So, it's a big range, Mercury is a good insurance company. It's probably one of the best insurance companies I've ever dealt with. Um, 2017, I would guess, without knowing where you're at, knowing what your age is, knowing what your MVR. With Mercury, I would say somewhere on the low end, 1,000, on the high end, maybe 1,800. And this is just a guess without me having any information. You know what I'm saying? So, but I know Mercury, because I have Mercury. They're affordable. And they also, Mercury is a company that when I had a lawsuit, Mercury sent me in there with a team of lawyers to fight it, and they allowed me to make the decision. They said, Mark, do you want us to just pay this out and get rid of this guy, or do you want to fight it? And I chose to fight it, which actually ended up costing more than the 20,000 he was suing me for. But the reason why I don't have a bad bone in my body and I never say nothing bad about Mercury is because Mercury called me and they asked me what I wanted to do. They said, we'll pay the guy. If you think we should just pay this guy, we'll pay him. But if you want to fight it, we'll fight it. Whatever you want to do. The dude was trying to squeeze me. I said, man, let's fight it. It was a 2 or 3 year process. We won. But, I know with the team of lawyers they sent me in with, the depositions, all the time that it took, you know what I'm saying? I knew that cost well over 20 grand, but, they gave me the option. And then they didn't drop me either. So shout out to Mercury Insurance. Let me see. 400 a day in the cargo van, local. I'd sell my 26 foot right now. Well, it's routes that pay that much. There's routes here that pay that much for Office Depot. You get the right piece count. You get about 200 pieces on your truck. You can do that much. You can do that much in a 16 footer here with Office Depot. Just get 6 pallets. It's about 40 boxes of paper on each pallet. Now do that times $2.25 a piece. Each box is a piece. So you got one big box of paper. It's about, let me see, I got a ream of paper. About 1, 2, 3, 4, about eight packets of paper in a ream. So each ream is one piece. It's 40 reams on a pallet. So do the math. Easy money. You can put 2 pallets on a van. All paper. Do the math. So it all depends on your route. It all depends on your route. Some routes don't make that type of money. If you get a route, let's say that's going to a school or going to like a hospital or going to like a government building like a courthouse, or let's say going to like Amazon. Well, Amazon has their own paper. So let's say like going to like a plant, like a car plant, like GM or Ford. They'll order. I said it before. I've seen it on my routes. You know what I'm saying? When I was running Office Depot, they'll order 2-3 pallets of paper. Pallets of paper. So, do the math. So is this going to happen every day? Probably not. But if you get a route in a major city like Chicago, New York, LA, and Chicago Public Schools order from Office Depot, every day, if you're in the inner city, you're going to have a truck or a van that's covering the schools, right? Because you can't cover all the schools in one day. So it all depends on your location too, so. Where is this at? Hold on. There it go. All right. Let me get rid of that. Why is it not? Whatever. I don't care. How much do you get to write off in taxes typically? Let's say you can make $100,000 with one contract. Final amount, 10 to 15 stops I kid. Does it depend on how good I do with my bookkeeping? Well, you write off. It's not about how much you get to write off. It's about what you spent, your debits. So if you made 100,000, let's say, and you spent, let's say 90,000, you wrote off 90% of what you made. So you made 10%. You got to run on a 10% margin, let's say. And this 90% includes you paying yourself, you paying your workers, all your debits. So if your credits equal 100 and your debits are 90,000, that 90,000 that are debits, those are things that you spent money on for the business. Payroll, supplies, fuel, whatever. Um Even if you did a Christmas party and you bought booze, napkins, plates, food, that's under entertainment. All right, food and entertainment. You can write that off. You know what I'm saying? As long as you just don't go overboard with it. If you got a driver and you run an OTR and he quits on you, and you're based out of Chicago, and let's say he quits on you in Texas, and you got to send somebody down there to pick up the truck and drive it back. The plane ticket to fly that person down there, the hotel, the drive back, obviously, all that's on the company. So you gross 100 and you had 90,000 in debits, that means you write $90,000 off. All right, you made 10 grand, 10% profit margin, and then that 10% is what you pay your taxes on. You know what I'm saying? So that's what you be writing off. Can you write off 1099 worker? 1099 worker, you're paying them. It's a debit. It's a debit. Any debits, any money that's going out. Any money that's going out is a debit. Any money that's coming in is a credit. Credit is in, debit is out. Anything that you spent money on for the business, you can write it off. You lease a car for the business, your business is doing exceptionally well, and you got a lot of money and you need write-offs. I'm gonna go rent this Lamborghini for the business. I'm gonna lease it. You can write that off. The business is leasing this car. It's a take-home car to the president. It's a lease. The lease payment, you write it off. The fuel, obviously you're writing it off because you got a fleet of trucks. So you just assign a fleet car to the Lamborghini. It's a write-off. Now, you don't want to write off more than you have coming in, because then now something's funny going on here, all right? You have to show some type of profit. The thing is, you rather write off as much as possible. So if you made this a lot of money, and you just got a lot of cash flow, and you see a lot of big companies in December, they just start buying stuff. Like I had a company that ordered these chairs, right? And they wanted us to house them, assemble them, and deliver them. Um, they ordered these chairs. These chairs are a little over $1,000 a piece, and they call like in November, December, like, yo, we're gonna order these chairs. They'll be delivered in January. We ordered like 109 of them. The chairs were $1,000 a piece, so it's like $100,000 worth of chairs. They was like, we don't need them right away, but we just want to buy them now. I know why they were buying them in December, and why they said when they're delivered, just hold them. We just need you to hold them for us. How much you gonna charge to hold them, to assemble them, and then deliver them when we're ready? The reason why they were buying them without really needing them at that time is because they made a lot of money last year, and they knew eventually they would need some chairs. Instead of us giving this money to the IRS, to the government, we rather spend it on something that we can use and just write it off. We just don't need them right now, but we need to spend the money right now because December 31st is right around the corner. So a lot of big companies, and if you notice in December, they just start buying stuff, buying stuff, buying stuff, buying stuff, buy as much as they can, right? Because it just makes more sense to spend it than to give it to the government. You don't want to just donate money to the government. All right. You want to donate enough to keep them happy and satisfied and keep them off your back. But, and that's about it. You don't want to donate any more than that. So, if you understand what I'm getting at. Let me see. One guy I know in Atlanta. I saw something. One guy I know in Atlanta, low board. It looks okay. He's willing to work 5 days. I'm still deciding what a good percentage to pay him for the week. Uh, I found this live at the right time. I have some people that want to do Amazon loads for me. Is this a good idea? Hiring drivers to do Amazon. I'm not an advocate for Amazon. I'm not an advocate for Amazon. Um, I think there's other opportunities to make way more money. I'm not an advocate for Amazon. I'm not an advocate for Amazon. So that's all, that's the only thing I can tell you about that, man. I don't really see the benefit of Amazon. I see it more of a nuisance I just don't see the benefit of it. I'm gonna leave it like that. But I will tell you this though, since you asked, in my personal opinion, I think no, I'm gonna leave it alone. Let's see here. What's the best way to rent money? What's the best way to make money renting a cargo van? The best way to make money renting a cargo van? What I just talked about. I would get a dedicated route office supply because it's simple, easy. I would run that in the morning. Load out is about 5:36 a.m. I run my route. That route usually ends somewhere between 2:30. Could end earlier if you're really, really good. And then from there, I would probably pick up some other stuff on Carry or something else to try to supplement some more income to about 6 o'clock. See if I could pick up another $150, $200 on one of these gig apps, and that would be my day. And that's how you make money with a cargo van. Uh, let me see. What's the best way to make money renting a van? He asked that. Let me think. We need to find something around here. All right. I think that's all the questions. Amazon ain't it right now. To pay an employee. That's what I was going to get to, but I don't want to be going back and forth. It'd be a lot of Amazon. I don't even want to call them stands. Amazon. I don't know. Just some people just think Amazon is just a. I talked to a lady. I'm trying to get on the show. She was an Amazon DSP, and some of the stuff that I always talk about, how they do their DSPs just abruptly with no reasoning, A1 score. This happened to her, and we had a nice long conversation. I just wanted to try to get on the show. She's got to talk to her lawyers to see if it's okay, to see what we can talk about and what we can't talk about. And I'm gonna let an Amazon person come on and really tell y'all what the same stuff I be telling y'all. And this is a person that's in Amazon that watched my videos that said, "Man, you're spot on everything." The videos that you talk about Amazon, I don't know how you know this information not to be in Amazon, but you're spot on. So I can't tell people nothing about Amazon. Amazon got a lot of people hypnotized out here, brainwashed. But it's just not where it's at. It's just not where it's at. But people think it is, so it is what it is. I don't. I don't listen. I don't got no dog in the fight with Amazon. I ain't got no horse in the race, so it is what it is. When I tell people is, you could take heed to it, or you don't got to take heed to it. But I know everything I said, I've been 100% right. You know what I'm saying? Because it is what it is. I'm not going to make anything up. It's right there. Now, people decide that they want to just ignore it because it's Amazon, then so be it. I mean, like I said, I don't have a dog in the fight. So I don't really care. I don't really care. Man, why ain't this damn thing popping up, broski? I don't know, bro. Mark, are changing the YouTube box truck saying I salute you, King. You have personally went away. Hold on. You have personally responsible for changing lives for free. I appreciate that. I really appreciate that. Yeah, man. Whatever I can do to help people out, man, it just is what it is. I don't need to charge people a million gazillion dollars to basically talk about experiences and things that I've done and just my knowledge in the space. You know what I'm saying? It is what it is. Yeah, it is what it is, and I don't need the revenue behind it. So, God has already blessed me. So it is what it is. So as long as people are, they come to the channel, and I can provide solid information to people and help people out, then it's just a form of philanthropy, and I'm happy to do it. As long as people are happy, then I'm happy. So I appreciate that. I was doing Amazon. I was doing Amazon load for $500 to $600 for 2 weeks straight, and people taking it for $350 the last few days. That BS you deal with Amazon. Let me get back. Amazon's board is similar to the spot market. All right, it's supply and demand. What one person takes doesn't affect what the overall the board in totality is not going to reflect it. All right. So if this person takes a load for 350, that doesn't mean okay, that means the rates go down. What makes the rates go up and down is supply and demand, volume. When volume is there, rates go up. When volume is down, rates go down. And it doesn't have nothing to do with this person, because here's the thing. Let's say we're in a good market. Market is good, volume is fair, we're not in inflation, there's no FUD out here, people's sentiment on spending money isn't bad, people are spending money, whatever. What it may cost you to run your truck, it may not cost me to run my truck. All right. So we're in a good market. When markets have been good, markets have been bad. And when markets are good, people take rates that are here and people take rates that are there. When markets are bad, people take rates that are here and people take rates that are there. People that take rates that are here doesn't necessarily mean that they're taking cheap freight. It may be cheap to you, but it may not be cheap to them. You see what I'm saying? The market isn't determined on who takes what you consider as cheap freight. The market is determined by supply and demand, volume. When I always use this example, when the pandemic was here and the government was infusing people's pockets and lining people's pockets with money to go out for the purposes of spending it to stimulate the economy, and volume was here and rates were up here, rates met volume, wasn't nobody complaining about how high the rates was. Why is it so hard for people to understand that volume is here, so rates are here? And just because Timmy takes X amount per mile and this person can't run at this, that means Timmy might be driving a 2005 that's been paid for over 12 years. Insurance is dirt cheap, 50 years old. It ain't costing him that much. His cost per mile may be a lot cheaper than yours. And the same thing when volume was high and the market was stable. Same situation. People are going to take higher rates. People are going to take lower rates every single day. So people got to stop worrying and blaming. Well, people are taking this. Listen, ain't no such thing as nothing sitting on the board. This person's lifestyle, what this person got to do, and the next person got to do is two totally different things. This person is going to do what he got to do, right, to get to where he got to get to, and this person going to do what he got to do to get to where he got to get to. And that's just the way it is. The rates are going to stay the rates as long as volume is low. So it is what it is. I ain't, this, it is what it is. I'm starting to see other YouTubers trying to do like you do, but not at your level. Well, I heard it. I've seen it too, but one thing that you can't see, so one thing is a lot of these other YouTubers, I haven't met another YouTuber in this space that has been in this space as long as I have, other than Kirk. I started in 2010. Kirk started in 2011. Everybody else started 2 years ago. And it ain't a knock to nobody. Anybody that tries to educate, one, I got a college degree in business. I got 14 years of experience in this industry. So they can try to do it, but here's what's going to happen. Here's what's going to happen. This is how people going to set themselves up for failure. They're going to do live streams and they're going to get questions that they're not going to be able to answer. All right, you can't duplicate, you can't mimic experience, years of experience. You can't do it. You can't educate people on topics like how I do, in business, because I went to school for that. You know what I'm saying? So, people can try to do it, but it ain't gonna take them that far, especially if they don't know what they're talking about. So, if people want to set themselves up for failure, let them go ahead. You know, let them go ahead. Imitation is the best form of flattery. So it is what it is. A lot of people just get on YouTube and just complain. That's what I see. Like I talked about the other day, I was perusing the internet and the YouTube space. I peruse it from now and again. I really don't watch other people's stuff like that because I'm busy. But every now and again, I gotta peruse it because what happens is I see a trend of people talking about one thing, so I have to see where this trend is coming from. But then when I peruse the internet, I see a bunch of people making videos all about the same thing. Like so, and it's just a bunch of like the same video, people making the same videos talking about the truth. Rates are trash, but nobody has solutions. See, when I get up here and talk, I give solutions. I'm not gonna get up here and complain and talk. Y'all can't go back and find one thing I complained at. Find me a video where I'm complaining, or I'm saying stuff that everybody else is saying. Oh man, the rates are trash, and that's to me, it's like you're wasting. That's me wasting y'all time. If I'm gonna talk, here's some solutions. Here are some ideas. Here's some things that have worked for me in the past. Here's a lane that you may not know of. Here's this guy's number. Here's that young lady's number. Here, you can make money here. You can make money there. You can make money here. And then I can, follow behind that with my experience. I've done this. You can do this here. You can transition from this to this, So it's easy for me to do it because you're talking about 14 years versus a person that's been 2 years that's still trying to figure out the spot market. So, it is what it is. I don't, I don't know, man. I was giving my first granddaughter today. Congratulations, 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 congratulations. Well, that's a congratulations. In this trucking game, you're gonna have to learn to keep it moving. You'll be out of business soon. True, and that's why I've been telling people to transition and to pivot. And a lot of people have been pivoting. A lot of people have been pivoting. So I wish they would have pivoted. When I told them to start transitioning in November, in December. But the ones that waited and that are still, that have been transitioning now, at least they finally figured it out. And I told people, like, the market is the market. Don't look for the market to change anytime soon. It's just too much uncertainty. It's just too much. You know what I'm saying? And that goes back to experience as well. I've seen, parallels of these cycles before. I've seen these cycles before, so I know how these cycles work. They don't they don't they don't flip in 3 to 6 months. These take years to flip. It's a lot of stuff going on right now. So, I don't know, somebody said people trying to copy, but here's the thing. If you don't know how to read charts, if you don't know about all the modes of logistics, if you don't know about the economy, you can't speak to the economy in an educated manner, and you can't forecast the way I forecast, because then it's going to be hard for anybody to duplicate how I present content on my channel. It's gonna be hard, and if they try to, and they don't have the knowledge base, they're just gonna end up making themselves look crazy. So I don't know who y'all talking about, but it is what it is. I don't care either way. Some people don't even know there's different rates in other states. Yeah, there's a lot of variables that go into play on rates. I just to me it just don't upset me. Let me stop. It pisses me off really, because when I see people saying this shit, what I'm saying, it's just stupid to me, bro. It's just dumb as hell. Like what would possess a person to think that because Timmy took 2 cents a mile, that now the whole spot market is going to reflect because Timmy decided to take a cheap load. What may seem cheap to everybody else. So that's the formula. Timmy takes cheap freight, the whole market goes down. Timmy decides to take a good rate, the whole market goes up. It doesn't work like that, man. It doesn't work like that. It doesn't work like that. So anybody tells you, and I'm saying this, if anybody tells you that the market is determined by what people accept, run. Because they don't know what the hell they're talking about. They don't. Supply and demand, volume is a formula. All right. Little Timmy or Steve in Nebraska or Bobby in Georgia or Mark in Chicago or Kirk in Pennsylvania or Mike in Atlanta or Steve in California don't determine the rate. They don't determine the totality of the spot market. They don't. Supply and demand. Listen, intermodal, intermodal is so bad right now. It like freight volume right now is bad. Really bad. It is low. It's low. So rates are low. They're gonna probably get lower. If volume continues to decrease at the rate it is now, like I'm telling you, I got buddies that run intermodal here in Chicago, and it's not enough for them to work every day. It's that bad now. And we're number one for intermodal. All the rails come through here. If you don't believe me, look it up. Look it up. So if volume is low, that low, why on God's green earth would people think rates are supposed to be high? And the rates should be high, should be determined on if what Timmy is taking or not. If the volume is low, rates are going to reflect the state of the volume. It's the supply and demand. You got an influx supply of carriers and a low demand for freight. So why on God's green earth, if you got this many carriers and the demand is down here, you got this many carriers and the demand is down here, why do you think the cost should be up here? You know why Timmy is taking this rate? Because the volume is low. Like, I don't know how many ways to explain it to people. But when I went perusing the other day on the internet, I'm still looking at people talking about trash rates. And man, if you want the rates to go up, go buy some stuff. Go to Walmart, go to Home Depot, start using your credit cards and spending money and infusing the economy. Spend some money. Get everybody to spend money. Knock on your next door neighbor and tell them, could you please start buying things again? So that way it can be some freight for everybody to move so rates can go back up. That's how, if you want rates to go back up, then that's what you need to start doing. Promoting people to start spending their money. Instead of going buying that $900 dinner for your birthday so you could take pictures on Instagram, why don't you take that $900 and go buy some goods with it? All right, so that way the store can sell out and then they can place orders, and the more stuff people buy, the stores and the retailers can start placing more orders, right? And the more orders they place, the more stuff that needs to get moved The economy can get infused. Demand will start going back up because volume will start going back up to meet the supplier count. Duh. Like on that note, I'm gonna go ahead and get on up out of here because I don't know what to tell y'all, man. Y'all can keep listening. Now I'm only saying y'all to the people who this pertains to. If it don't pertain to you, then I'm not talking to you. Y'all can keep listening to these people that steady pushing this cheap, telling people to stop taking cheap freight. Listen, check it out. Check this out. If Mark can run cheaper than you can, you think I give a damn about you and your truck and your $2 per mile, whatever your cost per mile? If I can make a good, honest living, let's say at $1 per mile or 80 cents per mile, you think I would give a goddamn what you? Well, you know what? Let me not take this. Let me not take this because so and so they need $1.75 to operate. Hell no. I'm gonna take what I need to take so I can put food on my table. I ain't worried about you. I ain't worried about you. So I don't even understand why people be so caught up from that aspect too. Forget the supply and demand. The supply and demand aspect, I just broke down the other aspect. You think a person who can operate because they think people take cheap freight is solely because they stupid. No, I don't necessarily mean they stupid. They just might mean they smart because they entered in right, or it could mean they have tenure. They've been in the space for a long time, so their costs are a lot lower. Doesn't necessarily mean, but here's the thing. Even in that situation, they've been in for a while, they cost a lot lower. What makes you think they have to stop and care because your cost per mile is a lot higher than theirs? Hell no, they don't care. I wouldn't care if I was running that lane. I would see, well, what do I need to make money? Where I need this my cost per mile. Shoot, this is where I need to make money. Oh shoot, I can make money at $1.20. Good money too. Oh shit, I'm gone. Well, man, you think I'm worried about what so and so looking at the board is saying? Hell no, I'm not worried about that. That's their problem. That's their problem. It's not my problem. And that's what everybody needs to start thinking about their own business and figure out a way to lower their cost per mile so they don't have to be the one complaining about Timmy taking X whatever cost per mile. So forget the whole supply and demand analogy I put. That's one reason. But the whole worried about what everybody else taking, it don't necessarily mean they stupid. It don't necessarily mean they ignorant. It don't necessarily mean that they a novice. It could also mean that they just been in the space a lot longer and they cost us a lot cheaper. So it is what it is. I think on that note, I think I'm done. I think I'm done for the night. I talked about the supply and demand again. Like I just have to keep reiterating that, you know what I'm saying? Because a lot of people, they get on YouTube and they try to make it seem like they know what they talking about, and they don't know what they talking about. You know, they don't know what they talk about. Then I have to come behind them and tell you why things are the way they are. You know what I'm saying? So on that note, I'm out of here, man. If anybody got any more questions, I'll answer them. But if not, I'm gonna go try to catch up on Power, man. I watched episode 2 last night. I still got 3 and 4 to go. It's looking like a soap opera to me. I don't like it, but I'm gonna catch up. So if nobody got no more questions, I'm gonna try to go catch episode 3 of Power. And let me see. Uh, I got to go to Lombardi 11 a.m. Left around 9:30. Are you? So you gonna be up this way tomorrow? I create my own good luck. I ain't seen you in the chat in months. What's going on, man? Did you ever get your truck? Or you be in the chat and you just be quiet. You don't say nothing. What's going on, man? I haven't seen you in the chat since last year, since none this year. None this year. What's going on? What is going on? I create my own good luck. Let me see. How do I add that? You gotta check out Mary Kingston. People keep telling me about that. People keep telling me about that. I'm gonna check it out. Oh, my other camera. Appreciate you, appreciate you, appreciate you, appreciate you. All right, any more questions? All right, if not, I'm gonna go ahead and get out of here. All right, so tomorrow, no show, no Monday show. Kirk will be traveling back tomorrow, so we won't do a show tomorrow. I don't know if we want to do one Tuesday, maybe to replace it, or Wednesday, maybe, maybe not. If we do, just turn your notifications on. If not, then we will do a show the following Monday. I guess it's gonna be the Wise Men now. All right, no more three wise men, just the Wise Men. All right, so unless y'all got another name, the two wise men, the three wise, the two wise men, or the wise men, or should we just find a replacement? Should we try to find a replacement? I gotta talk to Kurt when he come back, man. We're gonna decide we're gonna get a replacement or we just gonna just be the wise man. But either way, ain't gonna be no show tomorrow. We'll replace it either one day this week or we'll just come back on um, the following Monday. Appreciate you, appreciate you, appreciate y'all. All right, so happy Easter, y'all. Hope y'all enjoy y'all Easter. If I don't see y'all before Thursday, then y'all be safe out in these streets. I don't know what he could take. I haven't heard from him. Haven't heard from her. Like I said the other night, I reached out 3 times. He's never called me back. He texted me, said he was gonna call me back, but never called me back. So so you gotta read between the lines. A person don't call you back when they say they want to call you back. That means they don't want to talk to you for whatever reason. So I don't. I'm not holding nothing up. So we just gonna keep it moving. So it's just a wise man unless we find somebody else. And if we do find somebody else, it just can't be anybody. It's got to be somebody with some type of experience and something. So the debates can sometimes get. Kirk was in the hot seat a few weeks ago. You know, one day I'm gonna be in the hot seat. One day I'm gonna say something that people is not gonna agree with. Matter of fact, I've been in the hot seat before. I was in the hot seat with the whole peak season thing. A lot of people was disagreeing with me. A lot of people was laughing and talking crazy until peak season came. That Amazon stuff. A lot of people, I was in a hot seat with that. So I've been in a hot seat before. You know what I'm saying? It's nothing. I've done a debate show with another YouTuber last year. You know what I'm saying? So, but at the end of the day, I kept putting out the content that and stand true to my position, holding my position until ultimately the position I was holding when that time came around, I was right. You can't bend, break, or fold. Your position, your position. You got to hold true to your position. So we've all been in a hot seat. Y'all seen me in a hot seat. You know what I'm saying? Some of y'all was going against me about that peak season stuff. You know what I'm saying? Y'all know who y'all are. All right. But when it came, I was right. But I kept on. I just kept coming with more facts, more facts, more facts, more facts. All right. I've been in a hot seat. Kirk's been in a hot seat. He was in a hot seat. You know, it's not something that was no one calling each other names. No one was disrespecting each other. So it was a debate. I reached out. Person don't want to call back. Man, it is what it is. I'm not finna call people. Me calling a person 2 times is one too many. Once I reach out the first time, it's it. So if I reach out a second and a third time, really trying to, but after that, 3 times, man, I'm not calling no more, bro. That's on everything I love. So, do you think Kirk was watching the load board? Man, his wife is not finna let him watch the load board and they on vacation. His wife ain't letting him watch the load board. It ain't doing him no good watching the load board and he out the country. So, nah, he ain't watching the load board. Appreciate you. All right, so yeah, that's it, y'all. I appreciate y'all. I will see y'all Thursday. I'm out.